right, here we go. Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be playing Spectaculars, a superhero role-playing game of my design. I'm Rodney Thompson, and I've got a motley crew of superheroes here that are going to be fighting some crime.
I put a lot of thought into my superhero.
He really did. He really did. What we've got here is a game where the players make up the setting as they go along. You basically craft your own comic book universe as you play the game. We have crowdsourced the initial setting creation to Twitter and other social media as well.
That can only be good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give you a little sketch of what the setting is that all of these survey participants managed to come up with, and then once I've done that, maybe each of you can introduce your characters, and we can do the last few little bits of setting creation before we move on to actually deal with the scenario at hand.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, cool. So by popular vote, the game is going to take place in the 1980s, specifically the year 1984. And it takes place in Seattle, not the Seattle that actually existed in 1984, but a Seattle that is much larger and more populous. You see, a few years ago, there was a string of religious miracles. And then there were strange events and occurrences that started to happen. And then maybe some monsters. And maybe some demons. And then maybe some people started getting superpowers. I don't know. A lot of things happened. But regardless, the religious leaders of the world came together and basically agreed that something was happening in Seattle of biblical proportions, and that in fact there was some thinning of reality there that indicates that a dimensional rift either in or under the city has connected our world to, well, let's just come out and say it, connected it to hell. And so what's happened is there is sort of a conduit of powerful planar energy somewhere in Seattle that is causing all kinds of weirdness, and that's created a city with a strange dimensional rift in it. Now, because of this discovery, Seattle obviously became pretty important to the major religions of the world, which means that it became the site of a lot of pilgrimages. Like, people were coming from all over the world to visit the city, to witness religious miracles, but then also to be on the front lines for the fight against evil. So what you've got is a Seattle that's had a huge population influx, a lot of money coming in, all kinds of strange events happening. The city has grown up to be a towering city that is just overcrowded. Like, there's not enough room in the city for everyone that can fit there. And so basically it's bursting at the seams with people from just every corner of the world, right? And it's sort of a major religious hub as well. So that's the general basic nature of the setting. I can tell you a few other things about it. There are superheroes and supervillains in this setting, obviously, but there's not a ton of them. There are probably, I think we described earlier, as less than 24 superheroes active in the city, 4 of which are sitting at the table with me here today. But there are out there. Most people have probably maybe once encountered a superhero or been witness to some event where villains and heroes were clashing with one another, but it's not an everyday occurrence. People aren't worried about it like, oh, I'm on my commute today, what supervillainy is going to happen, right? And you spend a lot of time in your car when you commute into Seattle, let me tell you. Additionally, for the most part, the public is pretty accepting of superheroes, but not full embracing. Like, heroes aren't celebrities. Heroes are respected, but the population is relatively wary of them, and the authorities aren't thrilled with having basically, like, they're slowly losing control over the most powerful people in the city, both heroes and villains. So the government, while tolerant of superheroes, doesn't really love them, so you kind of get a little bit of flack from the authorities from time to time. Likewise, the media treats superheroes and villains as a source of controversy. So basically, they debate vigilantism on the nightly news. There are pundits on both sides. They become basically the focal point of all kinds of political arguments and elections and things like that. So superpowers are they're a hot button topic in the city. So that's the basics of the setting. Now each of you has created a character, and so why don't we go ahead and run around the table real quick, describe those characters, and then we'll do the last two bits, which are we're going to come up with your team, and we're also going to detail a bad neighborhood in the city, which is one of the major setting elements that we'll define for our setting. What we define here will become true for this particular setting. So on later live streams that I'll be doing throughout the campaign, if someone goes into the bad neighborhood, they will be going into this bad neighborhood that we define here. Yes, so take that, future streamers.
Yeah.
All right, so I will let you decide amongst yourselves who wants to start by describing your character.
Adam.
Okay, so I am. My superhero's name is Synapse, and he's got a lot of brain powers. I chose the teenage hero, I guess archetype.
Yes.
Who also has the identity of being a celebrity. And so since in 1984 you can't be Twitter famous
That's
or
right.
a big Twitch streamer, he has local bit parts. He's famous in Seattle in that he does local public access. And that's where he gets most of his exposure. And he just happens to, and since people are kind of like wary of hiring superheroes, I guess, like he's still trying to make his way in the world. So, and he's also, there's a team role that he plays, and it's the controller.
So you're basically like,
I use a lot of, like, I have telekinesis, telekinesis, dazzle, and hypercognition as my powers.
Okay.
So telekinesis lets me lift things, dazzle lets me blind people, I guess, and then hypercognition lets me, like, my mind moves at incredible speeds.
Yes.
Is basically what it says. So.
Better catch it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. And his real name is Matt Schaefer. He's a nice young lad, just a little bit caught up in the public access. He thinks he's a bigger star than he really is.
you can only be so big in public access anyways, right?
Yeah.
So like 19?
Yeah, like 19, 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right, I'm playing 24, a robot vigilante who is also a model in the daytime, named Catherine Walker. I am the leader of the group, and I have an energy strike, which allows me to create a burst of energy when I hit something, and I've got power reservoirs, so I can boost power of my attacks.
I'm Giuseppe Parciabelli, and I am Thunderfist. I own Parciabelli's pizza joint. It used to be a chain, but then there was some bad energy that wrecked one half of my chain. The chain consisted of 2 restaurants.
Technically still a chain if there's 2 links.
Yeah. And that also is where I got my powers. I grew to enormous musculature, so I'm a little bit awkward, kind of wandering around. And there's no hope of a secret identity for me. But I still took a hero name because hero names are cool.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm Thunderfist.
Very nice.
And I cook pizza.
All right.
I love that so much that you just own a pizzeria. That makes me happy.
Hello, I'm William H. Portcullis. I'm an independently wealthy software magnate because I am able to move very quickly. I made my money by programming faster than anyone else could during the 80s, but decided that monetary wealth wasn't enough for me, and so I branched out into the hero business. Thankfully, because I learned Tai Chi many years ago to combat problems with my back and RSI, I have the ability to strike at multiple places at once. But also, through my intense training, I discovered the ability for my limbs to stretch, thus making me into Falling Leaf, hero of the city.
So you're a Tai Chi based hero? I love it. Okay, sounds good. All right, so those are our heroes. Now you guys are going to come up with a team, and we have a team roster sheet that we're going to fill out some questions on. We're also going to define the bad neighborhood in which this takes place. So tonight, you are going to be playing through Streetlight Knights #1, which is the first issue in the Streetlight Knights series, which is a sort of street-level hero series. Kind of takes place in a rough neighborhood where you are sort of the only thing standing between criminals and the citizens. The police, they don't have a lot of involvement here. crime is pretty rampant. It's a pretty rundown part of the city. But we're going to define the exact nature of that, and we're going to do that by answering sort of 3 questions. We're going to answer what's the neighborhood's history, sort of describe why it went into decline. We're going to decide what's the primary source of crime in the neighborhood, like what kind of crime is there, and then we're going to answer the question, how do the city's authorities treat the neighborhood? So those are the 3 big ones, and then we have your team sheet where we're going to decide how your team was formed, what your team's mission statement is, and then what your sort of living situation is as a team.
The fact that we might all share an apartment.
You could totally share an apartment. You might also decide that you all live separately, which is totally fine. So I'll just run down really quickly through the questions here, and we're going to pick one answer from each of these, and that'll be it. So what is the neighborhood's history? So the first choice is, it was once prosperous, but now fallen from grace. In the old days, this part of the city was bustling and full of people and wealth. As the city grew, people moved to other areas, leaving behind only the poor and desperate. Or, it's an immigrant neighborhood. The neighborhood began as a place where immigrants of a common background congregated, like New York's Little Italy or San Francisco's Chinatown. Or, industrial collapse. The neighborhood once had a bustling industrial presence with workers from factories living in the neighborhood. When that industry collapsed, the neighborhood did too. Or, rotting from the inside. The neighborhood is old and venerable, and to those who don't live there, it looks like a slightly run-down historic neighborhood. This is merely a facade hiding the neighborhood's slow decay into corruption.
I feel like the first one ties in really well with our backstory.
Yeah.
You know, and we're just way overcrowded all of a sudden. There was this hellmouth opened up, and my restaurant got smashed by red lightning. Bad stuff happened. We were doing okay, but now it's sort of become it doesn't have the infrastructure to handle everything that's happened to it.
It's too close to what's going to the shit that's going down.
Okay.
For it to be.
All right, so once prosperous and now fallen from grace.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. I'll mark that. All right, the next question, what's the primary source of crime in the neighborhood? Gang violence. Gangs of youths cruise the neighborhood streets, fighting over turf and gunning down their enemies. Most of these gangs are as poor as the law-abiding inhabitants of the city and are recruiting to gangs as part of a vicious cycle of poverty and prison. Or organized crime. A large crime syndicate is the dominant force in the neighborhood, using it as their base of operations. The syndicate is highly organized, far wealthier than the residents, and consider themselves a cut above the average criminal. Or superpowered criminals. Most of the crime in the neighborhood is the result of superpowered criminals run amok. The ineffectiveness of the police makes the neighborhood a target.
I think from our previous choice, it probably makes sense to go with the superhero crime.
Yeah.
Just because I would assume that people would get powers and just try to make the best of it, the best they know how, which is crime.
Listening to the options, it would be kind of like cool if there was a mafia of like demons.
I do like that too.
Demon Mafia is cool.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
so like organized crime.
Man,
But
I wish I made the Doom guy as my superhero.
Doom guy.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh man.
We can do organized crime if you guys want.
Yeah. I
Okay,
like
cool.
that.
Let's do that, and I'll make a note that it is the Demon Mafia.
Kind of like when they go, you know, in Hellboy 2, when they go into like the back area in the ones like the marketplace. Do you remember that scene? That's kind of like what I'm picturing.
So the Dawn lives in hell.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, I like it. All right, how do the city's authorities treat the neighborhood? 1, avoidance. There's minimal police presence in the neighborhood. The city government has effectively washed its hands in the neighborhood, leaving the citizens to fend for themselves. Corruption. The police officers assigned to the neighborhood are just as corrupt as the criminals they supposedly police. They take bribes and shake down law-abiding citizens on a regular basis. Or over-policing. The city government is in an arms race with the criminals in the neighborhood, resulting in over-policing that makes the authorities as much of a threat to law-abiding citizens as the criminals. Or present but powerless. The police have a presence in the neighborhood, but they are often powerless to effect real change due to bureaucratic orders from politicians on the take from criminals. And the last option is private contractors. The government has outsourced policing in the neighborhood to a private security company and invested them with the authority to make arrests. Not answerable to taxpayers, these contractors' methods are often shocking and brutal.
Oh yeah, until
like
you
the
said that.
private
Yeah.
contractors.
I was thinking avoidance because Seattle
Yeah.
is radically overpopulated and the police force just can't grow quickly enough.
Yeah.
But then maybe that's why they go private contractors.
Yeah.
And So, like, the head of the contracting company was just immediately possessed by a demon, and now the contractors
Or
are...
it's literally just a branch of the Catholic Church's royal guards.
I feel like in that case they would help us against the demons.
Unless we are also viewed as demons. But yeah, I'm down for it.
We're not demons. I don't know.
I like that last one though.
I just want to make pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to be a big star, Ian.
Okay.
I want to be on MTV.
I like nice police that can't do their job.
That's present but powerless.
Yeah, present was powerless, so like they
You
can't
just
really
want them
stand
to be
against
like,
the
you want to
demon
say
mafia.
hello, officer, and then
Yeah.
but they can't actually do anything.
I think that it's...
I mean, you're our boss in character. You can be our boss out of character. I'll let you be. I'll support whatever you decide.
Oh no.
Put it on you.
Yeah, I hear that.
Well, I mean, I gave you my vote.
So yeah, let's try private contact.
Okay.
characters.
Yeah, I like that one.
The city is like
I just like the idea of the city being like, too much happened too quickly, and then they're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's a
oh my god, what do we
competitive
do?
contractor industry for security
Yeah.
now.
And then everyone tries it, and then all these contractors show up, and they're like, they're all bidding for these contracts, and that would explain why their methods are so extreme.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we can sort this out, and they show up and just start like hammering on people for no reason, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
so
maybe. Oh, sorry.
I was going to ask if anybody has a suggestion for the name for this company. We don't have to come up with one, but it'd be good if you had one off the top of your head. It's okay. We can come back to it.
Yeah.
It's
Large
totally fine.
guard.
Trefoil.
trefoil.
Yeah. What about it?
That is
I
like
promised I would support Corey's decisions.
Oh, you should let me name stuff. I love naming things.
Honestly, the Vanguard might not be a bad name
yeah,
for it.
it's pretty
Vanguard?
easy. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
All right.
Trefoil's Vanguard.
Is it like Vanguard Security, Vanguard
Alliance.
Alliance?
Yeah,
That's
Vanguard
ominous
Alliance.
sounding.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Vanguard.
them to punch
How
you
about
in
the
the face.
Vanguard?
Vanguard Alliance. All right. Very nice.
So are we like on Lake Union? Like are we off someplace with?
Well, we were talking about Bellevue.
Right.
It's true. This is the 80s, so Bellevue was a lot smaller back then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but we had a
dude, we've
massive
just had
influx.
this huge.
But also like this was once a prosperous
Yeah, good
neighborhood, so it's
point.
probably somewhere in the. So it's probably something like Capitol Hill or even like Mercer Island that fell into
might be
decay.
nice. That's
Yeah,
close enough.
it's right in the heart of downtown.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll call this Capitol Hill. Perfect. Little Seattle geography lesson there. Okay, so now we have our bad neighborhood. So this is going to take place in Capitol Hill. And so now I need you to come up with the answers to your neighborhood watch. Since you're the team leader, do you want to lead us through this?
So maybe we should deal with our options first before picking a name.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll give us a little
That
time
may,
to think.
Good leadership there.
So what brought the team together originally? We were brought together by one person. One individual brought the team together from disparate independent heroes. Or shared origin. Most members of the team share an origin for their powers. Or we are standing together. The team members live in the neighborhood and band together to protect it from criminals. And I think banded together or stand together.
I kind of like the idea of like we were all in the same kind of area when that red lightning.
Yeah,
But
that's
not,
happiness.
not necessarily got hit by it.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Like, were you a built robot, or were you like a mannequin that was animated, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure it out.
I was thinking of just having like a no backstory, just being a robot, but
But now I'm just thinking
It's
like,
a mystery.
yeah, a mystery origin not related to the red lightning.
yeah. Because like it'd be funny. Like we all were like in the same area when the red lightning hit, and you're just like this robot that shows up like, hey, what's up? Like,
Well,
you're like Mega Man. You were created by a scientist,
Yeah.
Dr. Light, to battle the evil.
Dr. Red Lightning.
Dr. Red Lightning.
Yeah.
That's like
Hey,
when the
wait a
Fantastic
minute.
Four
Yeah.
swaps one person out.
Sure, yeah. Spider-Man was in the
Doctor
Fantastic Four, right?
Picard.
So, like,
Yeah.
whatever.
I think the banding together makes the most sense.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. What's the team overarching mission? Bring down organized crime. The team aims to shatter the grip organized crime has on the neighborhood. Or keep the streets clean. Team protects the innocent inhabitants of the neighborhood from crime, both petty and serious. Or protect from outside threats. In a world where supervillains, alien invasions, and demon incursions are known to happen, someone has to keep the neighborhood safe.
Well, in our case, the first and third options are pretty similar.
Yeah.
I think you just bring down organized crime, like in our section of the city, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're all probably affected by it some way or another.
Maybe we don't know yet that these are the same thing.
That, yes.
I think
yeah.
outside threats make sense because it's just like, how could this be local? This is clearly an outside problem. We have to protect the neighborhood from something that has come into it.
If we know that these threats come from the outside,
Yeah.
I don't care how we
Maybe don't
express this. I think
necessarily
we're all
know
saying
that
similar
the
things.
Organized
Yeah.
crime or demons or like whatever, you know what I mean?
All right,
Like,
let's bring down organized crime. Then, what do the heroes fear could happen as a result of their actions and failures? 1, it's collapse. They fear that the neighborhood will be so completely subsumed by crime that no one will be left there except hardened criminals and the truly desperate.
Too late.
Driven out. The heroes fear being driven out of the neighborhood, unable to protect it. Or a takeover. They fear the neighborhood will be taken over by a hostile corporation, crime syndicate, or other malicious organization.
Oh yeah, the Vanguard.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if we don't
If
deal
we
with
don't,
stuff,
yeah,
the Vanguard gets a greater foothold.
yeah, maybe they've already taken over Bellevue or something. And we've seen what happens when they get complete control. They don't quite have justification for the budget they would need to do that here on the Hill. But if we screw up, then, you know, the Seattle mayor is going to be like, yeah, all right, just
If
do
we
it.
screw up, someone takes over.
No
And this
more
is
superheroes.
this is a neighborhood of the people.
Bring
and
me
we want
pictures
to
of
be safe for the
synapse.
people.
All right, so let's take over. Our team name.
Uh-oh.
Teenage.
Well, something about the Hill.
Are we all teenagers?
we're not.
That would be funny if we were teenage. It's a robot, 1 teenager, 2 adult males.
Capital.
I was thinking like the pack.
Well, if we're in Capitol Hill, we could just be Capital Punishment.
I'm not naming the group that, so I'm not going to be a founding member if that's
Yeah,
the
I
case.
know.
If we're from Capitol Hill, we could be the uppercase.
Or what if capital punishment was the first group of protectors
Yeah.
and something happened to them?
Okay.
And so we're the new capital punishment.
Yeah.
I like that.
New
Yeah.
New capital.
New capital punishment.
All right.
Okay.
And we don't know what happened to the old
Yeah, we
capital
don't know.
punishment.
Okay.
We're a reboot, man. We don't know what happened to the
All
old
right.
people.
New creative team took over, replaced all the old characters, the new characters.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about the Fantastic Four. There was like a 3-issue one where it was like
That's right.
Hulk, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Ghost Rider.
Right, yeah. it's like,
Because the original
all right,
Fantastic
sure,
Four
why not?
disappeared.
They were
Yeah.
gone. That's right. All right. So I will hang on to the roster sheet just so I can have a reference for your characters. Okay, great job, guys. So we've got our version of Capitol Hill, which is run by the Demon Mafia, which I am going to use my narratorly authority to tell you that the name of that is the Brimstone Family, is the name of the organized crime syndicate. And
They smell bad, right?
Sure. Yeah. That's why. And then the private security firm that is trying to increase their foothold in Capitol Hill is the Vanguard Alliance. You are trying to basically oppose the forces of both, overly harsh private security along with the forces of like literal evil that runs the organized crime in the neighborhood. So you're kind of getting pressed from both sides in a lot of ways, right? If you fail to stop crimes, then the private security will increase in power. If you fail to stop crimes, then the organized crime family will increase in power. So the pressure's on from 2 directions. All right, so the first issue of Streetlight Knights is called Breaking the Bank. And the issue opens, you're all, I'm not sure exactly what you would each be doing, I'll let you describe it here in a second, but you're all suddenly made aware of the sounds of sirens. And we sort of see like the panel showing like, the kind of rundown Capitol Hill, and then another panel that shows like police cars racing by, and then, the panel of Capitol Hill, and then another panel of more police cars racing by. So the police are on their way somewhere in the hill. Then we see like up overhead the helicopter that's way, way nicer than like the rundown, rusted out like 1970s police cars we just saw, right? And it's like the Vanguard Alliance helicopter that's sort of slowly following overhead in that same direction. There is a crime taking place at the First Seattle Bank here on Capitol Hill. And what I'd like to know is, how are each of you, or all of you maybe collectively, made aware of this crime in progress?
Oh, can we have wristbands, like wristwatches? Does that exist? Can we just have like
Yes, wristwatches
watches.
exist.
But I mean, like special team
1984,
ones,
yes.
like you know what I mean, like ones that beep.
Sure, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't have at the very least a pager on your wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
It's literally just a pager, and then you like put a slap bracelet through it. and,
Okay, so I just made my deposit. What time of day is it?
It's midday.
Okay, so I made the deposits from yesterday, and I'm driving back. We're gonna get ready to open the pizza place.
Are you driving back in like a delivery car?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And this is all like the police cars are all rushing past, and I can see where they're going, and so I'm radioing you guys. Does that work?
How does this thing work? Also, like, you know, you're a big guy, right?
Yeah.
I imagine you drive like a Volkswagen Beetle, right? And so you're just like crammed in.
Are you making fun of the size of my automobile?
That's right.
This is the only one I could afford.
It's got a Parchabelli's pizza thing on top.
Very nice, very nice. So you all get the page on your wrist pagers that alerts you that there is trouble at the First Bank of Seattle.
Okay.
And as you all arrive, you note that the police have showed up. There's not as many police as you would expect here. You see there's like 4 squad cars here, and they formed a pretty loose perimeter around kind of one side of the block, but they can't quite spread enough officers out to do a complete perimeter. You also hear the whoop, 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 whoop overhead of the Vanguard Alliance security helicopter. Probably means that Vanguard Alliance is on the way. But for now, you are the first ones to arrive on the scene after the police. So each of you has a mode of getting around. You can describe how you arrive on the scene. Whoever wants to go first, you can go first.
Dude, I show up like a budget Magneto.
Okay.
Because like think like because I telekinesis, right? So I like come in perfect T pose, like I float in, and my character's got like probably like a full like.
You show up and you say, "X-Men, welcome to die."
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, but he's got like a bike helmet on, like you know, like a you know what I mean? Not like it's like a budget Magneto, like a
Cyclist's helmet.
yeah, like a
okay.
cyclist helmet, like Zubaz pants, maybe a fanny pack.
And also, you're like 19, right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
19,
cool.
yeah.
All right. So yeah, you telekinesis
Tank
yourself
top.
in. Right?
Can I request instead that it's like one of those boxing foam guards?
Yeah, that's
that's
even
perfect.
better. Yeah, like
like-
an amateur boxing. Hell yeah.
Because you're like, I'm totally a hero, but I got to protect myself because there's some violence going to happen. Right?
Also, if you're
My
flying
head is
around,
my-
you're gonna
my
get
resource.
bugs.
People know who I am.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm famous in the greater Seattle area.
I think I just stealthily roll up on my motorbike.
Yeah, I'm just in the Beetle.
and I'll be rolling up on a
Like, everyone's like, I don't know. I just walk up and there's a sign has like T pose.
fine. I'm gonna grind a rail on my way up to there on a skateboard.
Nice. Very nice.
I like it. I like it.
Sure, you're independently wealthy. Of course you have a skateboard.
I'm a software magnet.
It's a
of
super
course.
skateboard.
Right. Okay, great.
I wonder if you had a Segway, like just.
1984.
1984.
You probably got one after that Farrah Fawcett skateboard riding episode of Charlie's Angels.
Oh hell yeah!
Okay, so when you all arrive, you discover that there's a robbery in progress at the bank. And you can see that it looks like the security gate has been pulled down inside the bank, but the door has been like blasted off. So basically you can see the security gate through like the main front door. The police are kind of scattered around, and as you all approach, it looks like they're trying to maintain the integrity of the perimeter, but they don't really have enough people to do that, and then also deal with you as well. You hear like one police officer shouts like, "Hey, it's that flying kid again. All right, you know, Jones, go over there and make sure he doesn't break anything with his brain again." So, like, you know, they know who you are. Yeah. So the police have formed this loose perimeter. You can see that there is some damage to the building as well. It looks like A couple of windows have been like blasted out, so that there's only like shattered remains. You also hear the like the sounds of shouting coming from inside, and then you hear the crack crack of a couple of gunshots as well, clearly coming from inside the bank. You also hear that the bank's alarm is going off, so it is ringing loudly, and creating, sort of adding to the cacophony out here. So, what do you do?
So, I assume we all meet someplace.
The parking lot.
Yeah, and Officer Jones is walking toward us.
Yeah.
So I quickly just tell you what I saw, which you have all heard.
It's actually Officer Callahan.
Oh, you had said Officer Jones earlier.
No.
Okay.
It's just I'm changing my mind.
Okay.
It's Officer Callahan.
Okay.
So Officer Callahan is kind of walking up to the four of you in the parking lot of the Dick's Drive-In that you guys are obviously all meeting in, right? And he comes walking up to you, and or no, he probably comes trotting up to you. You can see his rosary beads like dangling around his neck. Obviously, Officer Callahan is religious, as most people in this city are. And he comes running up to you, and so you've done some heroing before here in the city. Would you make it known that you're the leader of this team?
No.
Okay, cool. So he comes trotting up, and he sort of looks at you, and he's like, no, robot. No, annoying kid. Adults. He's like,
Hey!
So he turns to the two of you, and he says, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm glad to see you here. And he sort of takes off his hat and scratches his head, and he says, there's a hostage situation here. We've got the perimeter locked down, but he looks up at the helicopter and he says, any minute now, the Vanguard is going to show up and take control here. And, well, you know how they are in this neighborhood.
It's never good when they get involved. Too many casualties.
Yeah, we know there's hostages in there. We don't want any more of them to die.
So it's okay if we talk to them?
Wait, any more?
Well, you heard those gunshots, didn't you?
Yeah.
How many are we looking at?
No idea. None of us have been able to go inside yet.
Right.
I was just here 15 minutes ago. How busy was it?
I mean, it was middle of the day, probably like post-lunch rush for you, right? So probably like 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that.
So I'll share that information with Officer Callahan.
Yeah. He nods and he says, yeah, that seems about right. But no telling how many people are actually in there.
All right.
At the
Well,
moment.
shall we go talk to them?
I said we just go in the front door.
Is there a back door?
Sure, of course there is. There's probably like an employee entrance around the back, right? Leads to like employee areas.
So,
Would you like me to be a distraction? I could just walk in the front door while you sneak around. Oh, we split the party, right?
if they decide to shoot you and not the hostages, that's not necessarily better.
I'm going to offer myself in exchange for hostages.
Why would they take you?
Okay, I'm going to offer them pizza to help them as they're negotiating.
You're gonna offer the criminals pizza?
Yes.
I feel like we want information first, and I feel like Synapse would potentially give us an advantage there. Can you tell how many are inside?
I can stop bullets with my mind.
I have a spare cap in the car. We could say that you're one of my new delivery boys.
Okay, so you want me
Did
to...
anyone eat this bank robbery? Order pizza?
I got a delivery for Tom?
Criminals?
We walk in, we say the hostage negotiator is on the way, but we want you guys to be happy. Please don't kill any hostages. We're offering ourselves. Also, I own a pizza place. Can we give you pizza?
So the pizza's really sweetening the deal on this hostage exchange.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I don't actually know the game mechanics yet.
You
but
just
I'm hoping
carry
for some
pizza
sort of
around
boost.
with you?
No, we'd have to get one of the other people to bring it in.
I was like, you just go into your car and just like, good thing I've got this pizza here with me.
Look, back before all the bad stuff happened, I had a phone installed in the car.
Right.
We can call them.
Sure.
Oh.
So is that what you want to do? Is call into the bank?
No, I want to
Okay.
call them. I want to call for a pizza.
Oh, sure. No,
So
okay.
they're gonna
You-
bring
no
some
problem. You know
pizzas
what?
over.
You probably
Have we even
yeah.
had any contact with the criminals? Like,
Oh,
inside
no.
that?
No,
Nothing?
But I'm
nothing at
getting
all.
some pizza brought in. If they don't want it, we'll give it to the cops.
Sure. The police are sort of wondering what you guys are doing. They're like, Officer Callahan is sort of like, all right, we really have 25 minutes to wait on a hot and fresh pizza?
No,
Well, I mean,
no,
like,
we're going in now. They're gonna.
Out of character,
Oh,
I have
okay.
good. I can charm people
Oh.
and perform to an audience. I'm a celebrity.
Well, you should
Local
be a
access.
I
face.
can read the
Yeah.
situation.
I didn't
All
know
right.
we
That-
had a
So-
face.
What if I just go in there and talk to them?
Yeah. I mean, my skills are food-based. This is why I was doing this. But if you've got actual
Okay.
face skills,
Yeah.
Is it
What if
possible,
I talk to the
Is
criminals?
it possible for me to just run inside, have a look around, and run back out?
Sure. You want to do some super
Great,
speed
yes.
reconnaissance?
Well, yes, while all this
Perfect.
chatting is happening.
So what we're going to do is that's going to kick off the conflict scene. So,
Okay.
but you're going to get a turn first, effectively, right? So go ahead and give me a roll for your super speed. You're going to roll your percentile dice,
Okay.
and your chance of success is listed next to the power there. You probably want to slide it
Yeah,
off there.
70.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there you go. So you want to roll your percentile dice. You want to get less than 70 on the roll.
Less than 70.
Oh, an 85.
That's unfortunate.
That is not good
You're not
for
fast
you.
enough.
Or I'm too fast.
All right, so you take off running to zip inside the building, right? And
Does
so
he
you
move
put-
so fast that we don't see him move?
I don't know, how fast do you move?
That's a good question. I'm trying to decide which.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to-
Just at the edge of vision, I'd say.
Okay, yeah. So you're blurry, but they can see you.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so you can barely see him as he plows into the security gate that has been pulled down in front of the door, right? That
I can see
maybe
that
you
sign
did not
outside.
remember was there.
Speed guy left.
yeah.
Pizza guy, speed guy left.
There is a clatter. You blast through that security gate, right?
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're super fast, right? So you blast through that security gate, but unfortunately, as you push your way through it, you get tangled up and collapse to the floor, and you just kind of skid right into the middle of the lobby. And so that's going to start the conflict.
Oh,
So
man, we're great
Awesome.
superheroes.
you're doing great so far. You're doing great. You're street level, so
Hey,
it's all right.
guys.
Yeah,
I'd like to make a withdrawal.
I do. I do love how Dale's solution is so great. He's like, well, we'll just get him pizza. We got 25 minutes, right? And we're like, you guys are the worst superheroes. I'm like, I could probably talk to them. He's like, you're 19. Shut up.
What I love is the two different extremes, right? It's like, let's wait 25 minutes for pizza, or I'll be there in an eighth of a second, right? So either one.
I just wanted information.
Right, same here.
Yeah. All right. So the way this works is, so we're starting combat, and like a lot of games, we use an initiative system. And the way initiative works is I'm going to deal out these initiative cards. I have one in here for each of you, plus some cards in here for the bad guys. I'm going to deal these out from left to right as the camera sees it, and then that will tell us the turn order. Some of you have some abilities that let you affect that initiative track. So what's going to happen is I am going to have a chance to affect the initiative track first, then you guys can affect it in whatever order you want to. So for example, in this case, you have the leader ability, lets you move some people around on the initiative track. You have super speed, which lets you do stuff during the turn. I think that might be it for initiative track stuff. So basically your leader ability is going to be your team's predominant way of affecting the initiative track. All right, so minions,
Yeah, that's me.
controller, breaker, minor villain, striker, leader, minor villain. All right. So the first turn is going to go to the minions.
Before the first turn begins, I may move my initiative card 2 spaces forward to the beginning of the track.
Well, aren't you fancy?
But flavor-wise, I wonder if I should just not do that.
Oh, because you just crashed in.
Because I
You're like,
just failed it.
But you're super fast.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Like you pop up off the ground super
Yeah.
fast. All right, so there we go. All right, yes, that's right. You are the speedster, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so because you're a speedster, you move 2 spots, which puts you at the start of the turn. So that's it for, so that I did not manipulate it. You manipulated it. Do you want to use your leader ability? Spend some hero points.
I want to move Striker up one.
Okay, so
Just one.
yep, for 1 hero point. So I'll take that. Thank you. And so the striker moves up 1. So now this is our turn order. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you say to give
Thunderfist.
Thunderfist tactical advantage that lets him act before that villain's going to.
A tactical advantage.
Yeah, because basically what you're doing as a leader is you're sort of, shouting out orders to your team and like attack pattern delta, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Sounds cool.
I would love that. Yeah. Attack pattern delta. T-pose. and then I go up on an angle like
Dracula.
Just Thunderfist, form a wedge.
A wedge. All right.
Very
A
nice.
pizza wedge.
no.
So right up his alley.
Yeah.
All right, so that is going to bring up Falling Leaf first. So on your turn, you get to move and take an action.
Okay.
Now you have super speed, which means that you can basically move anywhere in this fantasy. You move super fast, right? So you can move anywhere you want to. You have an action that you can spend to attack or to deal with any of the complications that might be in the scene.
Okay.
So let me describe a little bit what you see inside, then you can decide what your
Please.
action is going to be. So inside the bank, you can see that the lobby has been mostly cleared out. A lot of the accoutrements in here, like the rope queue leading up to the tellers, has been like shoved aside. All like the plants have been pushed aside.
The
We've, like,
ashtrays.
exactly, the ashtrays. Yeah, it is the 80s after all. That's all been cleared out, leaving a big open area. And you can see that there are at least half a dozen, if not more, robbers here in the bank. You can see half a dozen in the lobby. You hear sounds coming from the vault, which is kind of behind the desks where the tellers are, right? But you can't see anyone inside there. You just don't have a good angle on it from where you fell. But you
There's
can,
people there.
yeah, you can see half a dozen bank robbers. These all look to be grungy, not very well dressed, not very well organized. Don't exactly look like the sharpest knives in the drawer. You're pretty sure these guys out here in this lobby are not Brimstone Family.
Street trash.
Yeah, exactly. But they're all armed. They all seem to be carrying pistols or shotguns, pretty simple firearms. And so you see them. You also see that there is a group of bank patrons that have been sort of pushed over into like the office areas where the bank staff run their like office hours and stuff. You can see that there are 6 bystanders that have basically been taken hostage. They've been shoved in like 2 each into 3 different offices. And they're being watched over by a couple of these robbers. You can also see that there are 2 security guards here. Those security guards are hanging by their own handcuffs from piping that's going overhead. Looks like probably like water pipes overhead. They're hanging. One of them is clearly unconscious. He's got like a big gash on his head and like blood dripping down it, but he's kind of moaning, so you know he's not dead. The other one is fully conscious. He's kind of an older guy. Looks like they stripped off his gun belt and everything, and he's hanging. And one of the criminals is taking pot shots at like his wrists where they're like hanging there, like he's trying to like break the chain.
Shoot him down.
But it's clearly like toying with the guy, right? This criminal is not very good at like aiming and everything, so
Everyone's safe.
very unsafe. Probably the gunshots you heard were him toying with the security guard,
Okay.
right? So you don't think anyone's actually been killed inside here, right? You do hear sounds coming from inside the vault as well. So all that having been said, you see before you 6 bank robbers. They are a group of minions, so they basically act together. They're going to act right here. They act together. You attack them all as a big group, right? You see hostages, which are a complication, and you can basically take actions to deal with that complication, getting them to safety. Every time you successfully deal with that complication, you get an extra hero point.
Hey.
So, good way to get extra hero points in the fight. And so basically, you're just going to describe to me what you do. I'm going to tell you what you roll, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. How much do I get to play out here? Just one particular
Basically, yeah.
major action?
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to attempt to make it to one of the offices
Okay.
to grab a hostage or 2
Okay.
and pull them out.
Okay, great. So are you going to use your super speed for that?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, great. Go ahead and give me a roll for your super speed. I am going to give you 1 advantage die, which are these white dice here, because basically you have surprised these robbers by busting in here. So they're all kind of still whipping around towards where you are. So go ahead and roll, and also roll that advantage die as well.
All right. 33 and no advantage.
All right, so 33 is a success. So you are going to rescue 2 hostages.
Okay.
So why don't you tell me what it looks like when you do?
Okay, well, at that point, I beeline directly to the office, opening the door and going through, right past one of the guards. Turn around, I say to these people, I'm here to help. Grab on. Extend my 2 arms behind me.
Yeah, all right.
And as I begin to run, the arms flex and stretch just a bit to absorb the acceleration.
Right.
And then snap in as I hit full stride out the front door.
Okay, so yeah, you basically zip in the office, they grab on, zip right back out the front door, and so you're depositing them like at the police line?
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds good.
I like how you clearly stated that you opened the door before you came in.
It's important to note this time. All right, so you do get an extra hero point.
Didn't knock.
Yeah, it did
How much
not.
table talk are we allowed to do during combat?
You can chat. Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I can help more of those hostages. I can't do anything about the conscious security guard. I don't have any sort of ranged attack. I'm just punch guy.
Yeah, can you take out like the minions?
I could. I'm sort of more a neighborhood guy, so I go for hostages
the
first.
I think
Yeah.
the unconscious guy is fine for now.
The guy,
Fine.
I don't have any way to help the guy who's conscious, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not next.
We help him by getting rid of the like you know what I mean? Like we help him by eliminating the problem.
All right, so as you dash out of the building, the goons that are in the lobby here, they open fire with their guns, and so you hear the sounds of gunfire behind you as you dash out. That is going to succeed, so you're going to take 10 damage. So that comes off your resistance. You start with 100,
you just
so
got
you're
shot.
90. Yeah. Basically, these robbers take shots at you and sort of graze you a little bit. And then that brings up our controller.
Yeah,
which
baby, that's
is-
me.
Which is
I
Synapse.
float into that bank like an angel, like a T-posing angel.
But like the hole he made in the gate isn't really that wide. You have to kind of turn aside.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like I hit it, I'm like, oh man, and I gotta be like, criminals, stop everything you're doing at once. Can I like disarm them? Because I have telekinesis, right? I
Sure.
want to try to like, how many do you think I can grab?
Tell me what you're doing exactly.
I don't want to get greedy.
Be greedy.
So
There's six of them.
plus one of whom is shooting at the other guy.
Yeah.
And then there are 3 rooms of hostages, one of which is
wanna-
empty except for
I
the
want to try to
security
grab
guard.
every gun in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So you're gonna use your telekinesis for that.
Yeah.
If I am not mistaken, you have a thing that says feat. You can use it as a feat of heroism.
Yes.
All right. So you're probably gonna want to do that.
Yeah.
The way that works is that, and all of you will see this on some of your powers. There are a couple of little symbols that look like hourglasses in a circle right before it. Those are time tokens. We're going to use these black poker chips for time tokens. Basically, what that is saying is put some number of time tokens on this card to gain this benefit. Right, so it's like paying a mana cost for a magic card, right? You pay this cost to get this benefit. You put the time tokens on the card. When that card has any time tokens on it, you can't use that action for
and then
anything,
two
right?
turn- then
and then
every-
2 turns later, you would get it back. So basically, at the start of each of your turns,
okay.
you're gonna take 1 time token off of each of your powers that has one, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, what you probably want to do is use telekinesis.
Yeah.
You probably want to use a feat of heroism because this is very specifically the type of situation that is that's meant for, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to roll your percentile dice. You would put 2 time tokens on telekinesis.
Yep.
And then you're going to add 2 advantage dice to that roll.
Which one's that?
The white.
The white ones?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to roll under an 80%.
That's right.
Okay. 35.
Perfect.
And I got one of the things.
You got 1 boon. Okay, great. Yeah, so you're basically trying to snatch the guns away from.
Yeah, I like
from,
float in, and I'm just like, "Meow." I do like
Okay.
the men talk the mind taker kind of thing, like,
Right.
and
Right.
then all the guns come floating towards me. Yeah.
All right, so you're not able to grab all of them.
Okay.
But you are able to grab a couple of them, right? And what you actually do is the 2 guards that were over guarding the office where the hostages were, they are, you're able to like pull their guns away from them. And when you do that, those, like 2 of the patrons that were in one of the offices basically take advantage of the fact that their guards just like staggered. They actually run out the front door.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to give you a 0 point for that. All right.
T-pose, baby.
And now,
It's too powerful. What are you supposed to do?
now it's Thunderfist.
Okay, well, I'm supposed to make a wedge.
Right.
So, I think I'm just gonna run in there, and I'm heading toward the back offices. But unlike everybody else, I'm just kind of a big lumbering guy, so I don't think I can get all the way through all the minions.
Yeah, you probably couldn't get into the vault, but you could definitely get into the lobby.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into the lobby. I have a thing
yourself
that
a
lets me
snack.
reduce the size of a squad of minions by 2 extra minions.
Yes, that's correct.
I don't know what that does, but I'm gonna do that.
Sure. So there are
Sounds good.
Yeah.
there are a bunch of minions here.
Right.
All these guys are minions.
Okay.
Right? All the ones you can see right now.
Okay.
I mean, so basically, when you attack them all as a big group. If you hit, you take out one of them. What that's basically saying is, hey, you take out extra ones. So,
Oh,
yes.
excellent. I'm gonna do that.
Okay. So that's your extreme accuracy. Is that right? Or no, it's your super strength.
Yes.
Okay, great. So describe exactly what you're doing to use your super strength.
So I'm just running in, and I'm just gonna smack into as many of them as I can. And if this were like 80s animated cartoon, you'd hear
Bowling balls? Yeah, like a bunch of bowling pins. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So go ahead and make a roll for your super strength.
Are you literally just throwing your whole body at them?
Yes.
You're going to get 1 advantage die because you always get an
That's so
advantage die
great.
for melee attacks.
Oh, great.
So every time you make a melee attack, you get an
you have,
advantage
like, an
die.
arm cannon?
So go ahead and make your roll.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I was joking.
91. But I have a thing that I can spend a hero point to swap those, I think.
So you have this right here. Make a precision attack right there.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Sorry, I haven't absorbed everything on here yet.
Sure. May I see this real quick?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, yeah.
So can I use that?
So you could use that if you were attacking with extreme accuracy.
Oh.
You were using super strength.
I
here.
was.
Yes.
So I can't use that.
So you can't use that, but
Okay.
so you have super strength,
Uh-huh.
80% chance of success. You could spend 2 hero points to increase this up to 100, which would succeed on a 91.
Oh, let's do that.
Okay, so you spend those. You spend 2 hero points, so you're going to succeed on this.
Okay.
Money.
You're also going to roll those 2 dice.
Okay. I win. I got happy explosions on both of them.
You sure did roll some drawbacks. Okay, so
Oh, these are drawback
those
dice.
are drawbacks, unfortunately. Those
Oh,
are challenge
hooray.
dice, yes. All right, so you rolled a 91.
Yes.
You rolled 2 challenge dice and and 2 drawbacks and no boons. So that means that you're going to succeed because you spent the hero points, but you're going to have some drawbacks on top of this, right?
Okay, cool.
Now, you use your super strength. Do you want to go ahead and use that ability to take out 2 more?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll just put 2 time tokens on that card,
Cool.
and there you go. All right, so you're going to take out 3 of them. Describe what it looks like when you take out those 3.
All right. So I go running in, and I feel like probably instinctively I lower my head, so I may
Sure.
not entirely see where I'm going. I've been trying to break myself of that habit. Sometimes it gets away
Sure.
from me.
Sure.
So I go just running in and bowling over them, and I'm just trying to send them flying. Ideally just shoving them and,
Right.
and heaving them off where I go.
Okay.
It's hard to be accurate when I'm using the strength.
Yeah.
So I just kind of send them flying into things, but I'm guessing from those happy black dice that
Yes. So here's what happens.
Oh, okay.
You're not
take over.
You're not paying full attention to where you're going. So you hurl one guy away, you hurl another guy away, and you're getting ready to like slam into another one when you run headlong into the vault door that has swung open, right? So you're gonna take 20 damage from running into that
Okay.
vault door. All right. So
Synapse starts laughing. It's really like, oh no! Oh.
I'd just like to point out that someone said I couldn't reach the vault, and boy, have I shown them.
you did. So from inside, from where you're standing now,
Yeah.
like reeling against the vault door, you can see inside.
birds.
Yes, you can see there are actually 4 more criminals inside. 2 of them look to be these sort of low-level goons that you've seen out in the lobby, which you've now taken out 3 of them. However, 2 of them are clearly a different cut of criminal. They are, in fact, they're wearing suits, well-tailored suits. Both of them have like dark black hair. They each have like earrings in their ears, and they're wearing sunglasses indoors for some reason. And they smell kind of faintly smells like brimstone in here. And the 2 of them, they sort of turn. One of them looks, or the one that is closest to you, looks at the other one and says, "I'll handle this." And he reaches into his vest, pulls out a pistol, and takes a couple shots at you.
All right.
All right, so that is going to be 16 damage as he takes a shot at you.
These guys are like agents, like Agent Smith.
They
Except with feathered hair.
some beautiful feathered hair.
And like one earring,
Yeah.
but it's like a cross. Like, yeah.
Exactly.
This is my kind of
Well,
place.
one of them has a cross earring, the other one has a pentagram. Earring,
Yes.
So, yeah. All right, so that brings up 24.
All right. So I run in through the front door.
Okay, so you come inside. From where you are now, you see 3 of these goons have just been like hurled aside and are lying, like some of them lying on the ground. You see he is reeling from having collided with the vault door and has just been grazed by a bullet from inside the vault. You see the 2 security guards are still hanging up on the pipes. You can also see that there are 2 hostages still inside those rooms, and there are 3 more goons out here in the lobby that are still yet to be dealt with.
I'd like to point out that I am currently unscathed and safe. With 3 guns, with 3 criminals' guns floating around me, like like an ion stone.
So my valuation is that you can take out the rest of the goons, you can save the rest of the hostages, and I can take out the biggest threat. So I'm going to like just keep running towards the back of the thing and then just roundhouse kick the guy in the head.
Okay, so trying to run into the vault, basically, where he just got shot from. All right, so that would normally be outside of your ability to move all the way in there, because basically, like, it's too much distance to cover in just one turn.
Take my skateboard, 24.
So here's what I'll say.
He's so rad.
I will say this. So this is a great opportunity. It's a teaching moment. So one of the things you can spend hero points on is a teamwork maneuver.
Can I launch her?
That's where you combine your powers together in some
Can I
creative
throw
way.
Corey like a...
And that gives that person some advantage dice. This is a great way to get some more advantage dice out there, because it doesn't take your turn, doesn't use up your powers or anything. You just spend a hero point and you basically give someone else some advantage dice in the roll, but it's describing how the teamwork maneuver works. In this case, if one of you wanted to do that, I would say that she can basically cover the extra distance with your help, but I'm also going to throw a challenge die in there because you're basically propelling her faster than she would normally go.
Want to push, Corey?
Oh yeah.
So I picture Corey like running through, like, push please, and I'm like...
All right, so you're going to give her a telekinetic shove?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll spend a hero point for that. So you're one of your ones there.
I would like to like jump and then he shoves me and so I just like
Totally.
bam.
All right. So you're going to attack the one that just shot at him?
Yes.
All right. 1 second. Excellent. Okay, so you're going to roll for this. You're going to get 2 advantage dice from the teamwork maneuver.
Yep.
You're going to get 1 advantage die because you're making a melee attack.
1 advantage.
And you're going to get 1 challenge die because
Challenge?
of the extra movement.
All right.
Okay, can I add 2 time tokens to make this a powerful attack, or is that...
You can wait until after you roll to decide to do that.
Oh. So 62, which is below the 80, and 2 boons and 1
Okay,
disadvantage.
so the drawback and the drawback and boon cancel each other.
Okay.
So you're left with 62 and 1 boon.
Yep.
I will tell you, you do not need to put a time token on it because you're going to take this guy out in 1 punch.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So,
Dinger, 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 dinger.
so that villain comes off, and so you are hurled into the vault. by Synapse, and you're going to take this guy out in a single hit. Why don't you describe what it looks like when you do?
So I come flying through the air, basically, leg looking like it's on fire, collides with this man's head, and just, I don't know, fires him backwards into a wall.
Okay, great. Yeah, he like strikes the back wall, which is a bunch of like safety deposit
Yep.
boxes, and like a couple of them fall out on top of him, and so coins
Yep.
kind of rain down on top of him. For your boon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that basically you have such an element of surprise on the other guy that's in there that when he attacks you, which he's going to do right now, he's going to have a challenge die on his roll.
Okay.
All right, so the other well-dressed criminal who is not unconscious, the one that has the pentagram on his earring, he is going to draw his gun and fire frantically at you, but he'll have the challenge die, like I described. And lucky for you, that is a miss. So, yeah, he fires wildly. It strikes the wall behind you, and you hear the ding of the bullet ricocheting, but that is it. So that's the end of the round. I pick these up, and I'm going to shuffle them and determine our turn order for the next turn.
I like this. This is cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also
Like I was just like, alley-oop. Flying robot lady. Heads up.
All right.
I think we've got the good balance too. We've got like cool heroes and we've got lumbering heroes and like someone's got to
call
be
me cool. All right. That's all this 19-year-old kid wants to hear.
All right. So breaker at the top,
Oh no.
striker, goons, controller,
That's me.
leader, and villain. All right. So this is a good lay for you guys. Would anyone like to affect the initiative track? You're already at the top, so nothing to do there. Leader?
Let's
None-
move our
none-
controller up one.
Okay, great.
All
All right, so
right.
you're going to get 3 actions before the bad guys take even a single one.
There you go.
As a quick reminder, there are still 2 hostages in the office. There are the 2 security guards hanging from the pipes. There are 3 goons out in the main lobby area, and then then 2 goons in the vault, and 1 well-dressed criminal in the vault. All right, so that brings up Falling Leaf.
Okay. Well, I could take out the 3 minions in the main area.
That'd be amazing.
That would,
And then you can leave the hostages.
Yep,
for
that would make things easy. And then
Thunderfist.
T-pose, you can maybe Synapse.
T-pose.
You might be able to
Maybe
break.
T-Pose is your nickname.
Did T-pose even exist in 84?
Yeah.
You might be able to break the chains on those cufflinks or the handcuffs to bring the guys down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to come in and attempt to attack the 3 different goons that are still in the main area.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So go ahead and what do you use for that?
For that, I'm going to use my martial arts expertise.
Great.
Combined with my breaker
Okay.
team roll.
So you can decide to use your breaker after you roll the dice. So
Okay.
go ahead and give it a roll.
Yep.
And you're using martial arts to basically punch and kick?
Correct, yes.
So also add an advantage die in there.
No advantage.
Okay. All right. So 48 is a success for you. If you would like, because you're a breaker, you can spend hero points to take out additional ones.
Yep.
So that's going to take out 3. So that'll be the 3 in the lobby there. All right. So what does it look like when you take them out?
I come in and I basically attack each of these in sequence, doing a complete Tai Chi kata on each one of them, much like we would do to a tree.
Okay,
So-
great. Very nice. So I would also like to point out you have the super speed power, which has an ability down at the bottom, which says it is you can make it a quick attack. Just in the future, so you know, basically you can use that as a quick attack to take another turn later in the round. So just FYI. All right, so that was the breaker. Now our striker is up.
Sorry, how many minions did he get?
He took out all 3 of the
okay.
ones in the lobby.
Okay.
There's 2 in
So
the
there's
vault.
2 still in the vault.
And someone said I should look after the remaining hostages, so I'm going to do that.
Okay.
'Cause that's my thing.
Okay.
So I'm going to just like pound on the one guard who's in their room.
Okay, sure, sounds great.
All right.
Well, actually, so they are all the goons in the lobby are down right now, right? Basically, there are just two hostages that are still cowering in the office. It looks like the other ones were sort of brave enough to go take a run for it on their own.
Okay.
These two hostages seem to be terrified, and so they're unmoving. They're not guarded, but they're not moving on their own.
So I could just escort them out?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. You'd have to probably convince them to move.
Or you know what I have?
You can convince
coupons.
You can convince them to move, or you can force them to move. Either way.
Who wants a pizza?
Yeah, who wants a pizza?
I have all these food-based skills. So I'm going to give them coupons for free pizza and escort them out to the police line.
Pizza line.
To the pizza line, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you give me a roll for that? What would you like to roll for?
I was hoping for some guidance on that.
Well, so I would say that's probably anything else with these, but I'm going to give you an advantage die because you do, in fact, own the pizzeria.
All
I'm going to
right.
give you a challenge die because they're probably not thinking about pizza at this moment.
Well,
but
I mean, I'm just trying to get them something else on their mind.
sure, totally.
Yeah. And that's a fail.
All right. So you don't manage to get them out, but you do have the boon there, right?
Okay.
So basically, like you kind of snap them out of their fugue, and like they start paying attention to you. They don't get up and run out, but
Okay.
it looks like on the next turn you could basically just like be like, "Hey, get the hell out of here," and they will go.
Okay.
But they haven't gone out yet.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. All right, and that brings up T-pose.
Can
Just kidding,
Can I
Synapse.
see inside the vault? I can
Yeah.
see both of them, right?
Yeah, so you're in the lobby now, right? So you can basically drift around to see inside the vault.
Yeah, I want to see inside the vault, and since I have hypercognition,
Okay.
my brain works at incredible speeds.
It does.
Right?
Oh, sorry. At the start of your turn, you get to remove one of the time
Yeah.
tokens.
Oh.
So can I use
I did see.
hypercognition to get an idea of what those two want to do next, and then stop it?
Yeah, so you can basically say like, okay, you see how they're starting to move, right?
Yeah.
And can predict like what they're actually going to
That's
do.
what I wanna
Sure.
try to do.
All right, sounds good. So go ahead and give me a roll for that.
Okay.
And
It's my worst one, but I want to try that.
yeah, so you're basically going in and like you're watching how they're moving, you're predicting their movements, and how are you going to take them out specifically?
Well, I want to
punching-
react to what they're doing, so it's just like it's like, oh, I guess that doesn't really do anything, but if I can see what they're gonna do.
Well, I mean, you could basically negate what they were going to do.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, like I want to see what they're gonna do because they're probably gonna attack my leader, right? Can I give her a heads
Possibly.
up? Like, can I be like, look out? You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
yeah, they're gonna do this.
To give her like some advantage dice or
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I gotta roll under a 60. 17.
All right, very good. All right, yeah.
All right.
So you can tell that these two, the two goons, are going for their guns. Like they were previously like pulling deposit boxes out and like dumping them into bags. So they're going for their guns and they're clearly turning to fire at 24. So you can sort of shout a word of warning. So I'm going to give them challenge dice on their roll.
Yeah. Hey, they're gonna shoot you.
All right. They are in fact going to shoot her. However, since you used your whole action for that, basically you have plenty of forewarning. So I'm going to give them 4 challenge dice. on this.
Wow. Nice job.
Well, that is interesting. So, so rolled a 39
Yeah.
with 4 drawbacks.
They shoot each other.
They don't shoot each other, but basically his warning shout is exactly what you need to sort of drop to the floor right as these two guys shoot a hail of bullets over your head. So you're actually going to take no damage as they would have shot you, but you take no damage from it as they shoot at you.
Nice.
All right, and now you're up. So there are still 2 goons in the vault and one well-dressed villain.
Self-destruct attack.
Can you blow yourself up? Like
How many
Colossus.
spare
like-
bodies do
You're
you
pretty
have?
deep into the vault, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So from where you're standing, you can also see that, like, sort of there's like a row of deposit boxes, and then kind of around the corner from that, you can see the vault continues deeper, but you can see that there is a huge hole that has been ripped out the back of the vault.
It's like that Fast and the Furious movie. They're gonna drag it away on chains.
The Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. The one where they try.
I don't know what that is. It's 1984.
Oh, that's right. Damn.
All right. So 24. What would you like to do?
Ooh, I would like to hit the big one.
Okay.
Just like lunge at him and knee him in the face.
Okay, sounds good. So it sounds like you're using your energy strike?
Yep.
Okay, great. Go ahead and give me a roll for that. You get one advantage die because you're making a melee attack. Go ahead and make the roll.
71.
And that's a success. All right, so you're going to take out this guy as well. So you are rocking these two dudes. You just crushed them. So you go in with your flaming knee? Yeah, sure. Yeah,
well,
okay.
it's more like flames at the bottom of the feet for extra
Right,
boost.
right, for the extra boost, right,
Yeah.
of course. And slam into him, just hurling him up against the wall, knocking him unconscious.
Yeah, basically starting with like runner's start
Right.
from ducking.
Shoot style.
Yeah.
All right. Last turn. All that remains are 2 goons in the vault.
So the hole in the back of the vault isn't leading us on to level 2, or is it leading outside? Can we tell?
Who knows yet?
All right.
You see darkness beyond the hole.
Okay.
All right.
It's a portal to hell.
Minions?
Yeah, it's me.
All right. Should we move you up too?
Sure, why not?
Why not? All right.
Use it if I got it.
All right, I'd like to move him up one more.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. I know
Very
what I'm doing
nice.
here.
Okay. All right. Falling leaf.
Okay, I'd like to move to between the 2 remaining minions,
Okay.
and I'd like to goad them into shooting each other.
Okay. What are you going to use that to do that?
Maybe I'll just. I've got a goad skill there.
Okay.
Ooh, that could be a tough roll, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Okay. Sounds good.
So you're being all like weird and like rubber bandery and elasticy when you're like trying to shoot you.
my face is stretchy.
Yeah, basically.
All right, so I'll let you use good someone. I will also, if you wanted to do what he sort of said and use your like elastic body to sort of juke them, you can totally use your elastic body as the roll as well.
Yeah, let's do that instead. Well, no, you know what?
You have a better
I'm going to
number
go with
for
them
goad.
instead.
Okay, all right.
It's a
So
better
yeah,
roll for that.
you're like, come on, shoot me, and they're like, all right, and
Stop trying to hit me and hit me.
Nope.
okay, they're like, okay, and it turns out they aim low.
They're like, bullets, my only weakness.
My one weakness, actual physical damage. All
Good
right.
shot.
So these two take a shot at you. They're going to hit. You're going to take 12 damage as they shoot you.
I like the idea of Ian.
Not much.
Ian's character, like we watch Ian run in the middle and be like, ha-ha! And then they just like bang! And it's like,
Fortunately, your elastic body keeps you from taking too much damage. But now that brings up Synapse.
yeah, so there's 2 minions left?
Yes, take the telekinesis token off.
yeah.
There you go. Yes, there's 2 minions here.
2 minions, hey? I'm trying to think about what's in a bank. And Ian's in between both of them.
And I'm so disappointed in him.
Can I like... I don't know if this is allowed, but since Ian is all weird and elasticy, can we do like a combo thing where I like spin Ian? Because he's in between both of them, right?
So I'll say if you want to use your action for that,
Yeah.
and if you wanted to spend your hero point for a teamwork maneuver,
Yeah.
I would totally allow that.
I want to
yeah.
use Ian as like a...
a top.
just to like spin it.
He's
like,
a top made of fists, basically. Okay.
That's what I want to do.
I'm all for it. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Great. I'm gonna unlock
Yeah.
my spine.
yeah, just
Get my arms out.
All right.
T-pose me, Angel.
make you do the Death Blossom attack like in the last Starfighter. Like, this is like...
All right. Give me a roll for telekinesis. Get
Yeah.
2 advantage dice from his teamwork maneuver.
I won.
That's excellent, and
Yeah.
2 boons. So you're going to take them both out.
Yeah.
All right. So you take out
right.
you take out the last of the minions.
Close. I'm good at this.
Yeah, you rocked it. All right.
Okay, you two, outside. Let me shield you.
Okay. Hey, this pizza coupon's expired.
It's expired in September.
All right, that was actually the last of the enemies inside the bank. So with that, you have a moment to sort of collect yourselves. You're able to get those last two hostages out.
Right.
You're able to get down the security guards from the pipes, right? And once you get them down, you have a moment to collect yourself. Do you want to explore the bank more? Invite the police in? What's your move from here?
I'm gonna check out the giant hole.
Okay.
Just
I'm gonna
walk
follow what the leader's
further in.
doing.
Yeah,
I defer to the leader.
Yep.
I'd like to remind the crowd before we leave that we are the new capital punishment.
All right.
The new.
Saved within 30 minutes or the pizza's free.
Yeah.
And the pizza's probably free
pizza's
anyway.
probably
We
free,
really
yeah,
need to. We got to
honestly.
brand properly, and we need to drive home over the new capital
Cross
punishment.
promotion.
Yeah.
Got it.
People need to know that the old capital punishment, they're gone. We don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
With the new-
This is Parchabelli's capital punishment.
Brought to you by Parts All right, so you're going to go back and examine the hole back there. When you get back to the back, you can see that the back half of the vault, sort of around the corner from the safety deposit boxes, has already been completely cleaned out, like just empty. Like where you would expect to see not just like big safety deposit boxes, but like cases of like the extra cash and everything, just gone, completely empty, right? And you see that there's this giant hole in the back. When you're examining it more closely, you kind of like walk up to it, and you're a robot, right? So you sense really strong, lingering electrical currents all around the outer edges of this. It's almost like this hole was carved out by like some sort of like, you would almost say like it was carved out by like concentrated like lightning bolts or something, right? Like that was just sort of like punching jagged holes all around it.
Okay.
You can also see that this hole doesn't open up into like a back alley or anything. It looks like the way the vault was constructed, there was a another side building that was like attached to it that was kind of encasing it, so that you didn't just like, someone couldn't just drill into the vault from the outside, right? But then you see that like in that empty room on the other side of the hole, there's another hole that's been carved out of the floor, and it's descending down into a dark hole.
All right, gonna get the team together.
All right, so at this point, you've seen all that, right? And the way it works from here is that now at this point, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you guys. You're going to tell me what you want to do. Adam, you've played Dust City Outlaws before, so you know how everyone sort of gets a chance to lead a scene, right? Similar to that, each of you can sort of tell me something you want to explore or examine or find out or do, and we will, run through like what you can find out, and basically the sky's the limit here. Only like it's up to you what you want to do. There's no right answer here, right? But as you guys do more things, time is going to be passing, right? And you know that there is a bunch of cash and stuff missing from this vault that these goons did not have, right? There's a giant hole in the back and then a hole leading down to the ground. Pretty obvious that someone has cleaned out the back half of the vault and is making a getaway with it. So time is a bit of the essence. It is up to you how you want to proceed from here, though.
Well, first I pull. It's dark, right? And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
I pull like one. Those like little flashlights with the flip switch and they're plastic, like the little
Yep.
like. I pull one of those out and I like.
Yeah.
I'm like looking around. You can probably see in the dark, right? Can robots see in the dark? Well, good thing I brought my flashlight.
80s robot can't see in the dark.
Okay.
I was just going to increase my perception speed, thereby allowing me to lower the frame rate in my eyes and see in the dark a bit, but I guess the flashlight works too.
Yeah. Flashlight works.
Like he's got this completely simple solution, you're like way overthinking it. Yeah, it's very Seattle.
Should we let like the cops know, or something, or should we just go? I don't know how this
So
actually works.
I took the. I'm out with the cops because I took the
Okay, you actually
hostages
took
out.
Oh,
it
you're out there?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was saying
Okay.
we
But
gather the team together.
Where's the big
Yeah.
guy?
So I guess I'll wander in at some point. Yeah, boss, you call. Hey, where's my safety deposit box?
Probably down there.
We're going there, right? Because it took me forever to get Grandma to trust me with her jewelry, and I don't want to have to go to Nona and tell her that I lost her necklaces.
Yeah,
We'll try.
We'll try.
I think the police can handle it mopping up here, and quite frankly, I'd rather let them deal with the Vanguard Alliance than us.
Yeah, it's true.
We should probably...
We should go in.
We should go get Nona's necklaces.
Yeah.
Take point.
Why am I taking points?
It's pretty tight confines, so you're probably more like,
We don't know how deep
I just
the
got my
hole
flashlight.
is.
Yeah.
So-
I was just looking.
How
Does it
tight?
count? Does it go?
How big is the hole? Are we
Yeah.
looking like a passageway into a sewers, or is it like a whole hole as far as we can see into it?
Am I getting scraped?
It looks like it's about 10 feet in diameter, right? Roughly circular shaped, but also very roughly carved, right?
So it's been
Like it was
carved.
looked like it was like drilled.
More like it was like blasted with energy.
Okay.
You can definitely T-pose down this hole.
Yeah. I hold the flashlight in my mouth.
Nice.
How far can we? I mean, shine your light down. I want to see how far this goes.
Goes beyond the range of his cheap,
I throw yeah, it's just a
flashlight
cheap, shitty,
that-
like dollar flashlight.
built like a 19-year-old would own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull it out of my fanny pack. Come on. I throw a rock. Like, what if I throw a rock down?
It's not. So it's kind of drilled at an angle. So
I
it's
just
kind
throw a
of-
rock
45.
and we just head down.
Yeah, and there's no reason for us not to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you're heading down. All right.
Yeah.
So you descend down into the hole, and it goes down probably about 30 feet before it levels out. And what's actually happening is it's breaking into another tunnel, a tunnel that already exists, one that's much larger than
Seattle Underground.
than the one that was drilled out here, right? And you're close. It is underground, and it is in Seattle, but it's not the actual Seattle underground, right?
We're not running into a tour group.
If
When
we
you get
have
down
we ever
here-
heard of anything like this before? Like this being done?
Sort of, yeah. So
Okay.
let me get to that. So you emerge into this larger tunnel, and it's really big. Like it kind of domes up above you, and you can see there's tons of like scaffolding along the sides, a bunch of construction equipment that's just sitting like idle down here. Like it's dark, and so you're shining your flashlight all over it. But it looks like this was like under construction within the last few years, right? And you sort of recall, like when the city started ballooning in population to respond to like the traffic needs, Seattle tried to build an underground public transit system, much like the modern day Link Light Rail. Anyways,
Hot takes.
support public transit. What happened is like they were trying to create this underground transit system, and like you guys have all been in the city for a while, so this is a thing that happened. But around the time that they were starting to realize, like, oh, there's something infernal about this connection to the nether realm here in the city, something went real bad under the city. Something that shut down the construction of this underground transit system, right? So basically, this Seattle has a half-finished underground like subway system, basically,
So-
right? That was never finished because something infernal happened.
They dug too greedily
dug
and
too
too
deep.
deeply.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yes, that is exactly right.
With
So-
the precursor of Big Bertha, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Probably far less sophisticated technologically, but yes, they basically have it was never finished, never really operational, but a bunch of track got laid, and like subway cars were commissioned and everything. It just like they basically abandoned the project, and they were like, if we keep doing this, we're gonna find more demons. So they stopped. So you've basically broken out into this abandoned subway, like half-built subway system.
And it was never made public exactly what they found.
No. There's probably someone in the city that knows. Perhaps a future live stream will discover that. But no one knows what was actually found on here. The section you're breaking into actually extends off in two directions, so you're kind of coming in from the side. You can see that both directions are sort of equally half finished.
Okay.
Boss, which way do we go to get Noni's necklaces back? Do we go
Is
left
there
or
like
right?
is there a path? Like it's probably dusty down here, so there's got to be able to like if I look down, it's gonna be obvious which way.
Would you like to track them through the
Yeah.
dust? You use your tracking skills?
Well, anybody got any tracking skills? Because I don't.
Gonna pick up a rock and lick it.
I can.
what does it taste like?
I'm a robot now.
Okay, right, yeah.
Robots don't have taste.
Yeah. I don't think reading the situation is
Yeah.
going to help.
That's the only thing I've got.
How about?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
honestly,
anything else is 50.
Yeah, I got
so-
a 50-50 shot at doing anything.
I could just run in one of the directions and tell you if there's something down that way.
I mean, you could, but what
You
if you
could
run into
have
another
finished
wall?
doing that by the time you proposed that,
It's a
actually.
good question. I'll let you know. And I'm doing that.
Okay, great. Go ahead and give me a roll for your super speed.
Sure thing. That's a 56, which is a success.
All right, great.
I'll go left first.
Okay, great. So you zip off, and you very quickly discover that you chose the right direction. Because basically you get down what would take these, chuckleheads like 10 minutes or so to get down there. You zip down there almost immediately, and you find that as you proceed down the tunnel, it gets more and more finished. You're actually moving in the direction where it looks like they were getting pretty close to this section being done. It's the section that's going to connect like Capitol Hill to the main downtown area, right? And when you get close enough, you can see that some of the construction lights are on, like they've been turned on. And then you see up ahead a set of subway cars sitting on finished tracks. And there's like one of those sort of track blocking, blockers, right? At one end, right? But they're sitting on there, and the reason you can see them is because their internal lights are on, right? You can see that there are multiple subway cars connected to one another. You can see that the back car, the door is open, and there are people here loading loot into the back of the truck, or into the back of the subway car, right? However, this is not goons or Brimstone Family. In fact, who you see...
Is there a picture?
There's not a picture. Right. I am not an artist. So you see two people here in the back that are tossing their ill-gotten gains in the back of a subway car. One of them is a burly man, probably like 6'5" or so. He's shirtless. He's got pants on and boots, and his skin looks like it's made of steel, and he has glowing red eyes. The other one that you, Evil Colossus. The other one that you see is he's a more like modest build, but he still looks pretty muscular. He is tossing bags into the back of the subway car, but he has a large silver spear that is like propped against the back of the subway car. And like he's just like tossing things up into there, and so you come zipping in. How stealthy are you when you're zipping around in your super speed?
Are you grinding on the rail?
Yeah. You do a sick kickflip. Like, what up, villains?
What up, villains?
I'm gonna say I think I left my skateboard up top, so
yeah,
I'm definitely
probably so.
running at this point. But that's an interesting question because I'm probably making some pretty long strides at fairly quick. So yeah,
I mean, you're probably breaking the sound barrier.
probably
In a tunnel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably happening.
Not super subtle then.
Not subtle at all.
Okay, sounds great. So you come booming into the area where you see them skid to a halt, and that's when the next conflict scene is going to start. So,
I love how
So we're 10 minutes away.
Yeah. How far away are we?
you're sort of catching up at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's basically skidded in, and like there's a moment's pause. Like I imagine that you are probably like zipping up a little bit and coming back, and zipping up a little bit and coming back. So like you're not completely ditching them all at once.
My ideal thought was actually that I was completely ditching them and going on a reconnaissance run. The idea being that as soon as I saw something that was worth looking at, I just Sonic the Hedgehog over the top of the tunnel and back the other direction.
Okay, sure. All right.
So maybe
So
we're all
he
showing
heads
up
back
that
to
they're
you.
all aware
Yes,
of us.
exactly right. He heads back to you, tells you like, "Hey, this is what I
lights
saw.
on?
There's
Yeah.
lights on. They know we're coming." Right. So by the time you get back, the subway cars are going to be in motion, but they're just pulling away from where they were. Sorry. Let me make sure I have all the right.
They're getting away. Can I lift a train?
Can you lift us?
I can lift anything. Absolutely anything.
If you can't lift a train, I can.
Oh yeah, you're super strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could see if you could yoink that spear thing away. That sounded important when he was telling us about that.
Yeah. It's a spear of destiny.
Ooh.
Spooky destiny.
All right. So at the start of each combat, you get back all of your resistance that you lost. So
Oh.
You're all fully healed.
that's
All fully healed back up.
I like that.
Additionally, if you have fewer hero points than your hero points for conflict, you get them back to the point where you are back at your full number. So
Hooray.
back up
Give me
to
one,
3,
too.
and 2 for you.
Thank you.
All right. So you are fully replenished, and let's see how the turn looks.
Purely from a game designer standpoint, the resistance thing must make it easier to balance or do conflicts, I guess.
A little bit.
Resistance
It's
refill right
mostly
now?
because you guys are superheroes, and lingering wounds are not really a thing in superhero comics, essentially. So,
What about when Wolverine got all of his bones removed?
That was an entire
well, you'll
plot.
see. Actually,
It wasn't just a conflict.
Sorry to tell you this, Adam. Wolverine didn't get better.
Oh no! He's just sleeping, right?
Yeah.
He went to go live on a farm.
Oh, okay.
Well, the first
in
time
Canada.
he had all the adamantium removed from his body, it turned out he was a Skrull.
This one's of
course.
but that's okay.
Everyone's a scroll. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Skrull.
Alrighty then. So,
Super Skrull.
so our speedster is going to move up 2, right?
Defo.
All right. All right, so we have 4 minor villains here, 2 of which you have seen, 2 of which you have not yet seen. There are, we have 1 at the top, 2, the striker and the breaker. Then we have 2 more villains, then the leader and the controller, and the villain, and then a hazard, which I will introduce at the time that it comes up.
Can I use the I'm the knight?
You absolutely can. So
I don't start in
You
the
are our
scene.
leader, so
Yeah.
yes. All right, so
Wait,
why don't you read that ability so everyone knows what's going on?
You do not start out in the scene for conflict scenes. Anytime after the start of the first turn of the round, you can add your initiative card to the initiative track so that you take the next turn. Enter the scene as you describe at the start of that turn. You can appear anywhere you could reasonably have gotten to undetected, and I get to add 2, what are these, advantage?
Advantage dice, yeah.
Advantage dice to rolls for attacks that turn. And if I hit people, I get bonuses.
Yep. So basically, because she's a vigilante, is her archetype, she gets to Batman appear and disappear out of the scene. Yeah.
It's terrifying.
So basically,
A robot model shows up in the thick of night.
it says, "I'm the knight." And leaves, right. Okay, so when you want to jump in, just let me know, and I will put you at the next slot. So, for example, like the minor villains, but is going to start the round. I'm going to, like, you could say, like, right now, and I would put you basically in here, right?
Okay.
So you can choose at any point, say, like, I want to take the next turn.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So, let's go here. Right. Excellent. So, the big burly guy with the steel skin and the glowing red eyes, he has actually climbed up onto the roof of the subway car, and as it's pulling away, he shouts back at you, and he says, "If you know what's good for you, you'll just wait there. I'm sure someone will be along to collect you eventually. Just let us go." He seems pretty stoic overall. Like, there's not a lot of, like, underlying simmering emotion here or anything, right? He just he's like, "Listen, if you know what's good for you, don't chase us."
Why?
Because you'll get hurt, and you don't want to get hurt, do you? And then the subway pulls away. All right. So on his turn, like as the subway car is pulling away, he turns and shouts something back in the other direction. But because of the way the tunnel is, you can't quite hear what's being said.
He's getting away.
All right, and that brings up Thunderfist.
All right, so I'm going to ignore the Cylon. Who's the green guy? Is that information I can have?
Which ones do we see?
You see the steel skin guy on the roof. You see inside the car that he is on is the guy with the spear, but he doesn't have the spear. No spear in sight.
Okay. Can I then use my super strength to, like, break the... how do I stop this with my super strength? What are my options here?
So you want to try and stop the train?
I want to stop the train.
Punch the wheels.
Well, I mean, like,
Uppercut the world.
if there are like 8 wheels, then breaking one axle isn't going to do anything.
Right. So from behind, you could basically grab onto the back car and just try and hold it in place.
Yeah.
Okay. You might not be able to completely stop it because you'd be sort of like digging your feet into the ground and
Could
like
me and
digging
Dale
furrows,
together just
but
tip it? Is there enough room to tip the thing?
Ooh.
You could
We
try.
just tip the cart, man.
You
Just tip
could
it off
try.
the. Yeah. You want? I would like to
Yeah.
help Dale tip the cart.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and give me. You're gonna spin that.
Yeah.
All right. So you're gonna make a roll for super strength.
Okay.
You're gonna get 2 advantage dice from his teamwork maneuver. What exactly are you doing to help him?
Telekinesis.
Yeah, you should basically providing
Can
leverage.
I use my youthful energy to add to his roll?
No, that's one of yours,
sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, you're using your telekinesis to sort of leverage up one side of the car so that it tips over.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. So I succeeded by 25, and I have one boon.
Yeah. Okay, so you got a 55 and 1 boon. All right.
Plus whatever Adam gave me.
That was the advantage.
Oh,
dice.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Mild-mannered pizza shop owner, just like, no, you don't. I love this sight of that so much.
Basically gonna like sumo throw the train.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grab onto the back of the car and you sort of start wrenching it towards its side. You feel it shake as he leverages it upwards, and it tips upward. And at that point, you can all kind of see a little bit better farther down the tracks, right? And you can see the tunnel kind of curves around to one side, and you can see that it basically looks like the front, looks like there's 6 cars on this thing.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
So it looks like there's 6 cars on this thing. Looks like there are the back car and like the next 2 up. You don't see anybody inside them, but so you see the one guy with the spear inside the back car, but you don't see anybody inside the next 2. The next 3 cars leading going forward, all are packed with people, like civilians.
Oh.
So, this car, or this subway train, is pulling away, and you're trying to tip it over.
yes.
You can probably wrench the back car so that it falls over. I will say that you can basically wrench the back car loose from the front ones if you want to. If you try and tip all of them over, however, then that's going to potentially harm the civilians in the front few cars.
That's not what my character would do.
Okay?
Instead, what I'm going to do is try to send some sort of vibration to, to disrupt things, maybe disconnect things, and I see that my good buddy Synapse is about to go next. So I'm going to try to give him some help for rescuing the civilians.
So you can actually hang on to this until he does his thing, right?
So,
but-
but did we see them load? Like, did they load stuff onto just the last caboose? Like,
You
we
don't know what's on
we have
the.
no
So you
idea.
basically know the back car has loot in it.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in the next 2 cars. There's civilians in the next 3 cars after that.
I'll just shout out, like, just trying to stop the back car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Do you want
And-
to like wrench it free?
Yes.
Because you can do that.
Yes.
Okay.
I was just trying to throw in some flavor because
Sure.
I'm about to help him do something else.
Yep. So what I'm going to say is that by wrenching that one loose, basically you pull it off, and you're going to pull because that has the big guy, the steel guy, right, and it has the guy with the spear inside the car. Basically, you're pulling them away from the civilians. So I'm going to count that as progressing the complication.
Oh,
and if I'm not
cool.
mistaken, you have a special ability.
Yes. When I do that, I get 2 hero points.
Right. So you get 2 hero points.
Awesome.
For dealing with complications related to protecting civilians. All right. So that was your turn. So
That was my turn.
You wrench the back car free. It doesn't completely tip over, like 100% tip over, but it does derail and start to slide. And then the big guy like kind of has to drop down on top. And so like it is off the rails. It is sliding. It wrenches free from the rest of the cars. So basically, the 5 cars are continuing to proceed forward. This back car is no longer moving, and then there's the two villains that you can see there.
So I left those other cards alone. That's what you meant for me to do, right?
Yeah.
All right, and now Falling Leaf.
I think it's probably in our best interest if I can see if I can stop the rest of the train.
I don't think we need to. We just stopped what we think was what they were loading on. Like we stopped the last cart, right?
But they have hostages.
Are there more bad guys though? Because we know that the next cart is empty,
We don't
and then
know.
the rest are civilians.
We just know there's civilians there.
Yeah.
I
The
think
train is probably under their control.
I'm gonna run directly to the
The front car.
the front
Totally.
car.
Yeah. If
You can
nothing else,
absolutely do
find
that.
out.
So you pass the car that's been wrenched off the tracks. You pass the next 2 cars, which look empty of civilians. As you pass them, you can see they are also loaded with loot.
Okay. Good to know.
The next 3 cars are packed with civilians.
Okay.
They look like they were, like most of them are, like frightened and bewildered as you sort of dash past them and up to the front. And what are you planning on doing? once you
Okay.
get there?
Planning
Because
to.
you can just move there, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to.
Yeah, planning to. The idea is I'd like to be able to get inside the cab
Okay.
and activate an emergency stop.
Great. Cool. So tell me what skill you like to use to manipulate the train's controls.
Then, for actually, I would use super speed for that. Actually,
Okay.
just slowing down perception time to give me time to actually look over all the controls, locate the emergency stop, and hit it.
Okay. All right. So
Is the cab open?
you can get through the door.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Like the front control area.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yep. So you dash inside the control room. I'm going to get you to give me a roll for your super speed. I'm going to give you 1 challenge die on this because you're not familiar with subway controls.
Yep, that's very fair. 29 is definitely a success, but there's a little skull man. So.
Yeah, success with the drawback. So, okay, you are going to succeed. So, you don't manage to stop the train entirely, but it looks like basically someone had jammed the accelerator as far forward as it could go and then snapped it off.
That's good.
So you are able to basically slowly start wrenching it back, but it's not easy to pull back because it was torn off. So you basically are slowing its acceleration, but not stopping it entirely. But that is helping the civilians, so I'm going to give you a hero point on that one as well.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Spear Guy. Okay, so the back car is falling off the tracks, and you are holding on to the back.
I am.
The back door slides open,
Hi.
and the guy looking down at you, he basically frowns down and he says, "You're going to be a lot of trouble. I'm going to have to end you." And he looks perturbed by this, right? And he holds up his hand, and it's like a bolt of lightning jumps into his hand from behind.
Is it
And
red lightning?
It is red lightning, yes.
Oh, not more red lightning.
A bolt of lightning, red lightning jumps into his hand, and then he's holding that spear, and the spear's glowing red, and then he raises that spear up and drives it down, basically right at your face.
I would like to not be hit by that.
I'm afraid you are infected by that.
Oh.
So you're going to take 17 damage, basically as the spear strikes you.
Is there anything I can do to hang on to the spear, or is it just gonna
No,
go back
like
to him?
it basically
With your chest.
becomes effective. It becomes like it's like a bolt of lightning when
Okay.
it hits you, and so it like vanishes. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zeus?
All right. Up in the front car, you are in the driver's cab area, basically, right? And you're kind of fiddling with the controls, and you just sort of notice at the last second that all of like your hair is standing on end, and there's this sort of crackle of electricity in the room.
Oh no.
It's a shocker. Leaping out of the floor.
Shock the world.
And leaping out of the floor and striking you from below looks like a gigantic bolt of red lightning. It basically jumps up from the metal floor to the ceiling and then back down. When it comes back down, it stops when it hits the ground and becomes a person, right? She looks like, I say she, it's really hard to tell if it's a man or a woman, right? It's a very, like, just pure energy form,
energy
right?
being just
In humanoid form, right? And you can see, like, dark spots where the eyes should be. And
We're just a neighborhood watch. We're not supposed to fight the lightning monsters.
you're going to take 61 damage as she
Okay.
strikes you.
That's quite a bit.
When that happens, then I'm going to actually use my martial arts expertise, if
Okay.
I can, to
Yeah.
make an attack against them.
Excellent.
So that'll be,
So you react to the attack against you with a counter strike
yep,
That's cool.
which is,
and 90.
yep.
So you get also get an advantage out there.
Okay.
Okay, so you would normally miss
Yeah.
because you have an 80. If you want to spend 1 hero point, you
That'll
can
take,
increase your
yeah,
chance.
that'll take it up.
Very nice. Okay. So you also roll a challenge die. All right. So you get a 90 with a boon. So when you make an attack against someone who is not a minion, the damage you deal is equal to the number you roll. So you're going to deal 90 damage back to that enemy, right?
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. Very
Big
nice.
yikes. Big yikes. Yeah,
All
you
right.
just did like a 1-inch punch. You're like,
So it's a couple. It's a couple of hard hits here, right? So like the lightning arcs up from the ceiling and lands. This person thinks they've gotten the better of you when you lash out at them, clock them right across the face. And when you hit it, you're hitting a physical form. Like they look like they're made of energy, but there is physicality there. They stagger back against the controls, and when his or her hands touch the controls behind them, like sparks fly out, and the whole thing, like there's like a power surge through the system, and the whole thing starts to flicker, and you feel the train start to lurch to a slowdown. So it is significantly decreased in
Hooray.
speed.
Good
I like the
job.
next.
Okay, great. I'm going to let 24 jump in here.
All right, so up top of the train, our steel friend there should be like regaining his feet. Say, I'd like to like appear behind him
Yeah.
up on top,
Yeah.
and then just punch him off the back of the train.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Go ahead.
Just donkey punch Colossus.
Yeah, 22.
22. Okay.
Should I add more damage to that? With the
He,
powerful attack.
you are not going to take him out with a 22. Let's put it that way.
All right. Yeah. So add 20 to the damage
So total of 42.
using my energy strike. Yes.
Okay. All right. So 42. Perfect. All right. So you sort of like we sort of see the comic panel where he's like on the top of the subway car. He kind of picks himself up, and then like it cuts sort of a reverse shot. You just kind of rise up from behind him, and how do you attack him?
Just a punch to the back
Punch.
of the head.
All right, so you deliver a punch to the back of the head. He staggers and almost falls off the side of the subway car, but does not do so. All right, Synapse.
yeah, nobody touches my pizza friend. And I want to try to shoot dazzling lights at the guy that stabbed Dale's character. Because can I see?
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
like, I want to
absolutely, yeah.
blind him.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, so you basically try and blind the guy with the spear.
Yeah.
I do have a question about my lesser reserve. Would I have
Yeah.
had to like roll separately for that?
To use a
adding,
power reserve?
Yeah.
No.
Adding more damage to
No.
the punch.
Anytime you have something that doesn't have or that has like special mechanics on it, you don't necessarily have to roll for that.
Could I add that?
Sure.
Yeah. So just like a big boost of power.
Yeah. So that's another 20.
That's another 20.
Great.
I guess I'll use a.
So yeah, you draw upon a deep well of power in this single strike, and so you're kind of like winding up, and it's like.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
I'm gonna use a use of youthful energy,
Okay.
so I get 2 advantage dice.
Okay. Great.
And I'm going to try to distract him from the opposite side so he feels like he has things coming at him from all directions.
Perfect. All right. So you're going to get 2 more advantage dice on this roll.
Baby. Okay.
You should really try and roll for 4 boons.
I know. I was like, I really hope I roll 4 boons because I get a thing that happens. I rolled a 99 with no boons.
Up 1 boon.
Oh, okay.
Now you have no hero points, right?
No.
Okay.
All right.
So I fail.
Yes. So you try and dazzle this guy. You create these like sparks and lights in front of his eyes, and he's just sort of like, what is that?
It's the logo of his pizza shop.
Right.
Cross promotions.
And then like the train is still his car is just kind of like leaning off to the side,
Yeah.
and it kind of creaks over a little bit further, and so you just sort of see him like looking at you out the back of the door.
In my boxing hat and Zubaz pants with a fanny pack.
We're so awesome.
While you're making giving them Kirby hands.
Giving the Men Talk the Mind Taker from Harvey Birdman. Like, boo. Consider that mind taken.
That was grody, dude.
You just punched big metal guy in the back of the head, and you hear this whistling noise, this sort of sound, and you feel something strike you like right in the back of the neck. You're gonna take 53 damage, and you're like, oh, that kind of hurts, and you sort of reach back, and you feel like a piece of shrapnel like that long is just like sticking in the back of your neck. And then you see at the far end, like standing on the very first train car, is a woman in looks like a pilot's jumpsuit, but it's all black, and it's got like places where patches have been ripped off of it. And you can see that she has like chunks of shrapnel that have ripped her jumpsuit in a few places that are still like embedded there. So like she has a giant hunk of metal shrapnel here, another one over here. Like the reason you see her is kind of like the sparkle of the lights off of the metal on her. It looks like she ripped a piece of shrapnel out of herself and hurled it at you.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she takes a step back and drops down into the first train car.
If only we had someone in the first train car who could take care of that.
Corey's like character gets hit and turns, and I'm just like, oh! There's like this big shrapnel. Like, jeez!
So because you slowed down the train so much, this hazard is not going to come into play for this round.
Hooray!
All right.
We did something
For
right.
this round.
Yeah, for this round.
For this
this
round,
round,
yes. Yeah, the train is still picking up some speed, but much slower than it would have been otherwise.
Picking up speed at an incredible rate. Stelios.
All right.
What happens if we get to 100 resistance?
If you take 100
Yeah.
damage, yes. So you get knocked out of the scene,
Okay.
which you describe sort of however makes sense for the attack. If you are reduced to 0 resistance by an attack that the enemy rolls, that they also roll 3 boons, you die.
Ooh.
Ooh, spicy.
The number of boons the enemy has to roll to kill you with an attack is determined by one of those questions that our survey respondents answered.
Oh.
They answered the question, how often do superheroes die? All right.
Which was never, right?
That's heroes.
I believe so, yes.
Superheroes die every day. Superheroes die easily.
Well, I've read enough comics to know
Villain.
that when superheroes die, they eventually come
Villain.
back.
Yes.
Controller.
It's me.
Hazard.
Uh-oh.
Villain.
Wow.
All
We're in
right.
trouble.
So,
We're in trouble,
you want to
team.
move up too?
Absolutely.
All right, Falling Leaf moves up to the front.
Okay, taking off one of my time counters.
All right. Before you do that, did you want to manipulate the initiative track at all with your hero points?
I would move the controller up one.
Okay, great.
Heck yes, or Tim.
All right, so tell me a little bit about what you say to Synapse to...
Pick up the pace!
All right, yes. Drop some dirt in it.
Yeah.
All right, sounds great.
I haven't even been hit. The second I get shot, I quit.
Yeah, we've all noticed.
It's like, I don't want to be a superhero anymore the second I get hit.
All right, Falling
Scars
Leaf.
are ugly.
All right. So I'm in the cab with another. The thing is still there, I'm assuming.
Yes, oh yeah.
Okay,
it's,
good.
With 10
it's
hit
basically
points.
staggered up against the thing.
Then I absolutely have to. Okay, we're going to attack it
Okay.
using my super speed.
Okay.
Attempt to do another full cut around on it.
Okay.
And I'm going to use that as a power stunt to make it a quick power.
Okay, great.
At the end.
Yeah, okay, so go ahead and make your attack roll. You're hitting them physically, so go ahead and roll an advantage die as well.
Correct. Advantage die is this one. And that's 104.
It's actually 4.
Oh, that's 4. Okay.
Yes. It's 0, 0, 4. Yes.
Right.
Zeros are 0.
Yes. So you do succeed. So you're going to deal 4 damage.
Can you add 6 points of damage to that somehow?
You
have
can
any-
you can use a point. You probably should.
Yeah, definitely use a point to increase.
Because you did 19 points
Does
last
that work
time.
like that?
Yeah, I don't think
You
it works that
cannot.
way. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I can't use
Right.
the breaker on that. Yeah, that's about all I can do for
Okay.
that.
Uh-oh.
What a shame.
All right, and so that was this one. So I'm going to say that your boon is that this guy moves down 1, and the hazard might come into play first.
Okay.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So you're making it quick.
Yes.
All right. So go ahead and put your time tokens on there. You're the breaker, so that moves you all the way down here to the end. Let's put these up a little bit.
2 attacks.
Yeah, so basically what happened was, because you have super speed, you're able to make it a quick power, you put 2 time tokens on there, moved yourself all the way to the end of the track, or the end of the track, so you could take a second turn.
Well, that's cool.
All right, and
Like
now that
that.
brings up Thunderfist.
So,
Sunder.
Spear Dude is uninjured, but Evil Colossus is hurt.
He's staggered from taking a hit from 24, and is like kind of reeling and barely like avoiding falling off the side.
All right.
From where you're standing, you can also see the other subway cars pulling away even farther. Taking along with it, Falling Leaf.
All right. Well, I don't know how I can help with that, but I feel like I'm accurate enough that I can shake the subway car using my extreme super accuracy, and I'm going to try to shake Metal Guy off the top of the roof so he just smacks head first into the stone tunnel.
Okay, sure. It's a tricky use of accuracy, but I get what you're going for, so I'm going to give you 1 challenge die on that roll.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. So that is 27.
All right. So you are going to damage him. Why don't you describe what it looks like when you succeed?
Yes. I'm just trying to... Can I spend this to make this an 80?
No, it's not. It's not adding 20. It's basically bringing it up from less than 20 to 20. But you are a striker,
Right.
so you can use that. on
Okay.
this. Yeah.
All right. So how many points of damage did you do last time, Corey?
I don't specifically know. I did. I
He
think
was
it's
like 60.
22
He was
plus
like
20
60
plus
something.
20.
Yeah,
So
60.
like 62.
Okay. I'm going to do 67
Okay.
with this.
All right. So you're going to take him out.
Okay.
So why don't you tell me what it looks like when you take him out?
All right. So I'm just trying
Everybody
to
clap.
shake the car, and I'm watching him look, and he's trying to keep his balance, but he's got, the boss robot lady 24 in his face, and he loses his balance and he falls down head first. He clangs on the rails, and then I just kind of set the car back down off the rails.
Okay.
And pin him in place.
Okay, with the car?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
Oh, that's
Sounds
sweet.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
All
yeah,
right.
brother.
All right. So next up is 24.
Okay, so I don't have my powers up.
That's
at the moment.
right.
I'm going to try to get to the train that is pulling away.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, if you use your whole turn, you can run up and jump on the last car.
Yeah,
It's starting
that's
to
what
pull
I wanna
away.
do.
Like it's kind of getting to the point where you would struggle to catch up, right? Because you sort of telekinesis yourself, you can still get up there pretty easily, and of course you can go wherever you want to. So
Yeah.
that's a perfectly.
So I'm gonna
yep.
heroically run off this car, tumble, grab onto the next one.
Sounds great. All right, so that brings up the guy with the spear. So he's sort of like on the back of this thing as you're jostling it around. In fact, he like staggers back up against some of their loot as you are dropping it on top of the big metal guy. And he basically comes running forward and then jumps down at you. And he's like, when he does that, sort of raises his hands, the lightning jumps into his hands and forms the spear again. And he's going to try and drive it down into you physically this time.
Yeah, last time I got hit by red lightning, it gave me superpowers. You might not want to do that.
Let's see if it gives you superpowers this time. Oh, wow. Okay, so you rolled a 98, which is going to miss for him.
Okay, I was like, that hits, you explode.
You literally explode. No. So he comes leaping towards you, but you're able to sort of duck, and he kind of goes out the back over the top of you, lands on the other side. When he stands up, he kind of lets go of the spear, and it shoots up at the ceiling and kind of looks like it impacts on the ceiling.
Interesting.
All right.
This guy has such an interesting power set.
Okay, and that brings up Synapse.
So that means is the spear in the roof?
No, it's like lightning strike. It just hits and is gone.
I can take Spear Guy if you want to go rescue Falling Leaf. Or attack Spear Guy if that's what you want.
I don't know what he's doing. I know the problem that's in front of me right now. Yeah. I think I would like to believe that Ian is okay. Or Falling Leaf is okay.
He's super fast. Like, what could happen?
So I have a question for you. When you jumped on the back, I would say that basically you can either try and force your way into the car. It's packed with civilian, or no, this one's empty. So it's packed with loot. So you'd be sort of like climbing over loot, or if you want, you can go up to the roof.
I want to go through the car because I know there's an enemy with ranged attack on the roof.
Okay, great.
I'm going to attempt to dazzle this dude again.
Give him the old razzle dazzle.
Yeah, with the logo of
you're gonna stay on brand.
Pizza place.
Yeah,
yeah. Monday has 2-for-1 breadsticks, and then it's like
breadstick.
And I'm providing you with the distraction again.
So tell me what you're doing to distract him.
I'm just trying to keep his he's just missed me, and I've told him about the superpowers, and I'm like, look, you're not going to give me more powers if you don't put the lightning inside me. Come on, buddy, hit me. I'm right here. How hard is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
It's not like I'm a small target.
Hit me.
Do you have goad someone as one of your skills by any chance?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm going to use youthful energy again.
Okay.
I haven't anything else
So
skill.
do I get something from him?
You get 2
The same
advantages.
thing? All right, baby. Here we go. Time for the old razzle dazzle. Show me dazzle salad. It's 21
Success.
with 1 boon.
Okay.
So now, if it since it hits, I can put 2 time counters on dazzle to make it a hindering attack. Does that count the next turn? He's already gone. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So you wouldn't want to do that this turn. Right?
okay.
So what you want to do, so that can just deal damage to him.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is the guy with the spear. So you rolled a 21, and you got 1 boon. Yeah. So I'm just going to call that boon an extra 10 damage. Okay. So it takes 31. All right. So you create
breadsticks coming at you.
Yeah. So you're basically creating these images in front of his face. He like staggers back, and like when he does, he sort of stumbles on like some machinery behind him, and like kind of crashes back into like a big pile of like wrought iron rods. And there's a loud clanging sound as he does so.
Boxes and barrels.
Yeah.
All right.
Steps into a tar pit.
Oh, no.
2 feathers.
So the front car, or the front 5 cars are continuing along the track. But remember how I said that like this subway was never actually completely finished? So what happens is you get to a section of track where there's chunks of it that are missing, haven't been finished, haven't been completely nailed down yet. And the whole thing lurches. The whole train lurches. So what is going to happen is you're inside the car. You're inside the car, so that's good. So I'm going to roll this with 2 challenge dice. So I'm rolling an attack for the hazard. All right. So you're not going to take any damage from this. You are going to take some damage from this. So what happens is basically you're making your way through the car. The whole thing lurches on the track, and like a giant like a bag of gold bars.
Yeah, I get
Kinda
pinned by some
spills
gold
down
bullion.
on you, right? So you're going to take 35 damage.
Ow.
Or, sorry,
Yikes.
25 damage.
25,
as I rolled
okay.
a drawback. You take 25 damage as a big like bag of gold bars collapses down on top of you.
Who put that there? It's like,
Do the villains get hurt by the hazard?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to roll for them too. I just realized that.
And I hate to ask this, but what about the civilians?
The civilians, they're packed in tightly enough that they don't really have anywhere to go.
I love that answer. Thank you.
Well, so one of these guys is going to take 0 damage because I rolled a drawback. I rolled a 3 and a drawback. So the villains are unaffected by this. And now it is... so the one that is the basically solid energy that's in front of you, they are going to... they are not feeling very good, taking a lot of damage. So they're going to basically blast out the front window. They do so. So the front window of the subway's like driver cab blasts out, and you see this like streak of arc energy zipping off into the distance, like red lightning. Not so fast that you couldn't chase if you wanted to.
If only you had a turn coming up.
Do I stick with the group?
I mean, we can let them get away.
But Notny's necklace.
All right.
But we have all the loot.
No,
There is a
we
shattering
have one
glass
of the
sound
three.
from behind you. You hear the screams of people in the cart, and you get a good up-close look at this woman with all the shrapnel in her. You can see she looks like she's in her like mid-30s or so. Looks like she was probably once, pretty like conventionally attractive woman, but is badly scarred by all this shrapnel. And you can see it's not just like, oh, there's a big piece here and a big piece there. Like there are little pieces sticking out of her, and it looks like she's sort of. Like she probably could have had maybe tried to remove it or wear different clothes that hide it or whatever. But it looks like basically she is using the shrapnel inside her body as a weapon, and you can see that there are like bloody spots where she's pulled these out. The sound of shattering glass was actually another piece of shrapnel shooting past you. You can take 13 damage as it zips past you.
Okay.
Man, I feel really badly for this person.
Lauded supervillain Sharon Shrapnel. Just coming to get you.
All right, and then you get your second turn.
Okay. 13 damage. Okay. Well, are they in the room with me?
She's basically.
Oh no, 'cause she's
basically
it,
like
yeah.
across the like halfway across the train car from you. So not in the cab with you, but within a move. Obviously, you get there pretty quickly. The car she's in is pretty crowded too.
That's problematic.
She does not care about civilians, so.
No. Ooh, I can't really consult with you guys at this point. I'm going to make another try at stopping the train.
Okay, great. All right, tell me how you're gonna do that.
Do we have...
Did you try asking it really nicely?
No, but I could try and ask the train nicely. I feel like I should be able to. Is there anything in the cab? I'm going to take a glance around the cab to see if there's anything I can use to wedge that lever more.
Sure. You could probably try to basically like rip a handle off of like a hatch or something like that. Use that to jam in and wrench it back.
That sounds like a
Okay.
good plan.
All right. Do you have a skill you'd like to use for that?
I feel like use computer isn't really the same thing
It
for
is
that.
not.
So, an elastic body won't do that either.
You can describe it in a way that it would.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to just grab a hold of that thing.
Oh yeah.
And
Just like.
Yep.
Yep.
And just run.
Wrap your fingers around it and then take off running.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll for it.
Okay.
I didn't know Ian was a genius.
Oh, actually, here's a question. For this turn, do I remove one of them as well? Or
Yes, you do.
great. That doesn't affect what I'm doing, but 10.
Okay, so a success.
Yeah.
All right, so you pull the handle back. You are actually going to succeed in finally stopping the train. So it comes to a screeching halt, and you are going to get 1 hero point for that.
Yay! Good job, Ian.
All right.
I would like to not let go of the lever.
Okay. You don't let go of the lever?
Never let go.
All right, so
Not from Titanic.
Actually, here's another question.
like
How
those.
far back into the train did I
So
make it?
cold.
probably not
That's
super
Ian and
far.
the lever.
Okay, not
They're
past
both on the
the
plank of
No,
water.
no,
Okay,
well,
then
you
I
probably
do.
got pretty close to her.
Okay,
He's holding
then I
on
do
to
let
it.
go of the lever.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. Controller. Damn it. Control. Control. Yes.
You got it.
There we go, baby. T-pose. Coming through.
Oh, no good for the villains.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good
all
for
the
us.
way at the end.
That's good
All
for
right,
us.
you want to move up too?
Yes, indeed.
All right,
The villains
Never not.
contain potassium benzoate.
That's bad.
That's bad.
that's bad. All right, would you like to affect the?
If I'm
action
out
check?
of like earshot, can I still affect?
You're on the back of the train, so you could affect him.
Can I affect me?
I believe it's other heroes, right?
Hey, you. Ship up and shape up.
Or is it any initiative?
For each hero point,
Move one hero's
Yeah,
initiative.
sure. You can use your own.
Pep talk.
Yeah. All right,
Come on,
24.
24.
You got this.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't let this gold stop you.
All right. So you are fighting your way through the back car of the train,
Yeah.
moving forward. Okay. What do you do?
Cars
The
crowded with
train
people.
is now coming to a halt.
When I hit like the gap between the cars, I'm gonna crawl up on the roof and continue forward.
Okay, sounds good. All right, this will be the last time that the hazard comes into play because the train is coming to a stop. So you basically can get as far forward as you want to go. How far forward do you want to go?
Before the conductors.
Okay. All right.
Cab.
So, all right. So the back of the first car.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So you are on top now. Mm-hmm. When it hits another lurch point, and I'm also going to give you 1 advantage die on this because, sorry, 1 more challenge die on this because it is slowing down significantly. 1 challenge die on this because it's slowing down significantly. All right, so you're not going to take any damage from that. You're still inside the first car, so there's going to be 3 challenge dice on this. All right, so you're going to take some damage as the car lurches once more.
Okay.
You're going to take 22 damage.
Nope. That's definitely going to take me out of commission.
You're completely out?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so you basically have wrapped your hands around this thing. You ran forward and basically let go. The car lurches, and as the car lurches, you kind of stagger and you turn and you realize you're lurching right towards the woman with the shrapnel. And she basically is bringing her fist up, and you see she's got shrapnel in her fist.
Oh, boy.
And just clocks you and takes you out.
Do you like Doomsday?
All
Yeah.
right, so
Oh, no.
But in '84, we hadn't read that yet.
yeah, it's all right.
okay, so that was the last round. This comes into play. However, I did need to roll for her as well. She's actually going to take some damage from that.
Hooray.
I drive the shrapnel into
Wait.
her fist farther with my
Like
face.
she hits you, you drop, and then she staggers over you and kind of like slams into like the side wall of the subway car. All right, so that brings up Synapse.
Yeah, T-pose, baby. I'm going to find Ian.
All right, so you're zipping forward to the front car?
Yeah.
All right, it'll basically take your whole turn to get up
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay, sounds great. All right. So before you ran from the front car, you saw the like living lightning bolt zipping away, and you don't know what happens to that person. Right, and they are now out of the combat. Okay, And the striker is now up, so that brings up Thunderfist.
Yes. Now, I'm not a guy who runs off after speeding trains. I'm a guy who beats up lightning dudes.
Yeah, so you saw this train speed off and then come to a screeching halt, like just around the corner from where so you can sort of see the tail end of it. But you want to go after Lightning Bolt guy?
I mean, the rest of the
Or
team
spear
is
guy, I
looking
should
after
say.
that. Yeah, I'm going after Lightning Spear.
Invested now.
All right, yeah,
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 is
Is
absolutely.
Lightning Spear still around, right?
Oh yeah.
I just dazzled him. I was like, see you later.
Go.
Don't worry, kid, I got
This
this.
is somebody else's problem.
That's a problem for
just
future
gonna
sign
pound
apps.
him.
Okay.
I'm just
All
hammering
right, sounds
him.
good.
All right. So I can increase
Yeah, your chance of success.
by 10.
Yep.
All right, so I do 82 points of damage.
And roll that.
Oh, yes. 82 into skull.
Yes, so you do 82 damage. So you are going to take him out. So you're just like, you basically just run up, hit him. Oh, also you're making melee attacks, so roll an advantage die. Okay. So you're going to run up and hit him. You're going to take him out. I want you to describe what it looks like when you do so.
All right. So I think maybe I was also slightly dazzled by all of the lovely on-brand dazzling lights.
Thank you.
So I ran up, perhaps I stumbled, but I still got to him, and I have a lot of momentum by the time I get to him. I just pile drive him.
Okay. Sounds good.
Do like the big Hulk smash, like
Yeah, you do so. You smash him. You actually smash him back through a bunch of the construction equipment.
Okay.
And he kind of fallen over. As you do so, you also sort of like slam into it as well, so you're gonna take 10 damage.
Okay.
As you do that, but yeah, you managed to take him out. Very nice.
Yay! Good
All
job,
right.
Neil.
Now Shrapnel Lady, she's taking you out. The train has come to a stop. Big guy is out.
I think her name is Shrapnel.
Yes.
Ooh.
Shrapnellin.
Shrapnellin. Yeah. Shrapnelly.
Dancing.
Shrapnellin.
Can you see her from where you are?
Don't know.
Okay.
You're up on the roof, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the first car.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm floating around. Does she see a pair of Reebok sneakers like float by? Like,
Yeah. So
Can I tell if the front window's blown out from up here? Probably not.
not from where you're at, no.
Okay.
All right.
Isn't it great
Right.
when the GM rolls dice and you just don't know?
he just goes
So-
okay and writes
Yeah.
something down. Uh-oh.
Which one of you wants to die? No. Okay, so you are on the roof of the car,
Yes.
and like, you're kind of making your way forward. You know that this woman was up here,
Yes.
right? And so you've been moving cautiously, and you're kind of looking around, and you don't see anything, but you hear something, and it's like this very faint, like cling, 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 cling sound. And you're kind of looking around, and you're like expecting the attack come from any direction, and then you look up and you realize there's like a manhole access ladder above you, right? And you can see that like almost up to the very top, like right before the like 3 little pinpoints of light where the manhole cover are.
Yeah.
You can see like her silhouette just barely outlined. She's climbing up towards the manhole.
Ah.
She's trying to get away?
She's trying to get away.
We've lost one of them, and we've lost one of us.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll replace you with like a younger.
It's not dead.
Just severely burned.
We're gonna
I'll get
replace
better.
them. Sorry, I mean, we have to reboot the franchise now. We've lost Ian. Oh, she gets to go first. No.
All right. Would you like to manipulate the initiative track? To let
Come on, 24.
You want to pep talk yourself into
Yeah.
front again? Very nice. You got this, 24. And you're like, is she
It's
talking?
inside
Yeah,
voice.
she
No,
talks
I'm
for herself a lot.
Stoic and humorless, so it's all internal.
All right, so
anybody else?
she's climbing up to the manhole cover. The clang is actually like her shrapnel hitting the metal of the ladder. What do you do?
What if everything you ever wanted?
It's like, how fast can I climb a ladder?
Rocket kick.
I've heard worse ideas, right?
Yeah.
I was
I
just
can't
checking
give
to
you-
see if you had
I
hero
couldn't
points.
do
I'm like,
anything.
you can't help me. Shut up.
It's the thought that counts. You're a robot. You
Can
can probably
I-
shoot a fist, right?
It's a melee attack.
Yeah.
But can I use my energy like strike to get like a boost?
Sure. I mean, like you can move up.
I
Like
can
she's
move up.
only like one move away, basically,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you can describe it as like you're blasting your way up there.
exactly.
So basically, like you jump up and like you have like little repulsors on your feet,
Yeah.
basically, and so you sort of blast yourself upward, and you're gonna hit her as you come up with your charge.
I'm gonna do like a
Nice.
spinning kick.
Oh yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah.
So sure you can
Yeah.
Spinning
Yeah.
bird kick.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll for it. You are making a melee attack, so add an advantage die.
Everyone knows every
Just
single
one-
attack.
just
You
one of
say
those,
the
yeah,
name
there
of
you
the
go.
attack while you do it.
That's right.
That's a 60 with an thingy.
60 with a boon. All right.
Nice.
She has 68 hit points left, so I'm going to say that 60 plus 10 damage is 70. Right?
Lovely.
So she's like reaching, putting her hand on the manhole cover, and like you see like the crescent of light as she like lifts it up, and that's when like your spinning kick comes up, and you hit her. You slam her into the wall, and she like goes whoa, and then clink, 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 clink as she falls down the ladder,
Yeah.
and then slams onto the top of
Hard
the
landing.
subway car. She is alive, but she is groaning in pain. All right.
You're rich. Can you
so-
pay for medicine for her or something?
I can.
With that, you finish capturing the superpowered crew known as the Grigori. They had managed to steal a pretty hefty sum from that bank, but having defeated them now, you've kept them from getting away, except for one of them, who did escape justice. But
The red lightning.
yes, you've captured 3 of them, and so you know, good on you, kids.
Get you next time, Gregory.
So normally if we were playing like a real campaign, what would happen is now we would deal with sort of lasting repercussions and like the sort of effects of this. But since you all won't be playing this again, I'll just sort of briefly summarize those. So basically, because you fully took care of like saving all the people on the train and stopped it from getting away, basically like if you didn't do that, it could go to the end of the line and crash and would be very bad, right? But because you did that, basically like you get really good media coverage for like rescuing a bunch of hostages and everything, so your team's media reputation would go up by 1. If your reputation with different factions goes up high enough, you eventually basically get like extra benefits or drawbacks if it goes down low enough, right? So your media reputation goes up by 1. There's like a full like 10-minute like story on the nightly news on Como 4 News about your actions and your bringing those villains to justice, which is great.
Falling leaf
see here.
saves
If
civilians.
the villains had escaped,
Local public access celebrity.
right,
Saves train.
2 adults and child. So, 2 adults and
adults
child
and
and a
a
robot.
robot.
Yes. Right. What it actually is probably like it names the 2 of them. Also, a child was there.
Yeah, and the robot's just not mentioned.
Right, yeah, because you don't talk, right? So, yeah, no, okay. So if you had failed, what would have happened is that basically villains are emboldened to commit crimes in the neighborhood. That would basically become a new true thing about the neighborhood, and then in future issues that could come back to haunt you.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's basically it. So you managed to capture the villains and prevent the Grigori from getting away with the ill-gotten gains. So 3 of them become incarcerated. 1 of them is still at large, and who knows, perhaps could appear in a future live stream.
Bum, bum, bum.
So yeah, that's a single issue of Spectaculars. It's
That was cool.
That was
I
really
like that
fun.
a lot,
Yeah,
man.
thanks.
I want to play that more.
Nice
Yeah.
job, buddy.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I designed it to be basically like a little bit shorter sessions that get the action a little bit faster, but you sort of chain them together to form the full-length campaign.
Well, it's like a comic book, right? You can read a
Yeah,
comic
exactly,
book in like 20
exactly,
minutes, right?
right.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
Well, and I noticed you had a lot of forums where you just had a few pencil marks. Like, did it take you a really long time to prep this session for tonight, or
No, actually, so each issue, and can you turn on the overhead camera a little bit? I can put this out so people
Yeah,
can
probably
see.
a bit of zoom.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe a little bit of zoom. There you go. Yeah, so basically, like the issue I ran tonight was basically just a front and a back, right?
wow.
So that's all there was really to it. Whoa,
I liked it really.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. There's basically a front and a back, right? And so like the front was basically the opening scene and some of the interlude stuff that you guys did, and then the back was the final conflict scene, and then all the resolution. If you had taken time to interview the hostages, or if you had taken time to like clean up the scene or something like that, you would have arrived at a later point in their escape plan, and could theoretically have arrived so late that you would have actually confronted them at their lair, which is like an abandoned subway platform down the line, right?
That's
so,
cool.
So that could have gone a little bit differently. So there's some variation in there, and then like the villains, basically it had like some multiple choice on the front. This was all actually answered by people who were doing the survey, right? So they did the survey, and that helped me fill out the front side. And then because this is a gang of minor villains, on the back it's actually pretty simple. It's just like a power, and like I wrote their names and some descriptions, and then I track their hit points. But basically because they're 4 independent actors, they're not as complex as like a full villain would be, right? But yeah, and so like it was pretty easy to run. The idea behind the game is that you can crack open the box and play it like a board game any night. Like, oh hey, what are we playing tonight? Oh, I don't know. Let's play Spectaculars, right? And then you're playing a single session, but it's part of an ongoing campaign. It's part of a larger world, right? And so like we established the bad neighborhood at the start of this one. Now that is a thing that is true for the setting, whether it's you guys playing it or if I have a different group play it or whatever. And so like even a single box of the game can accommodate multiple different groups that would come together and play, right?
Great.
Yeah.
I also liked how, I mean, I felt this way about Dust City Outlaws too, like where the failure chance is just big enough. So
Yeah.
you feel like you're going to succeed more obviously than you fail, but it's just like, it's just there.
Some of those hits are like so huge that it's just
Yes.
oh damn, that's intimidating.
That's one of the sort of tactical subtleties of the game, is that like when you're playing the initiative track game a little bit, you're basically trying to say like, okay, we don't want villains to like line up too many attacks in a row, because if they really pound on somebody, they can take them out in a hurry, right? And then things like your hindering attack that you were asking about, that's a great way to make sure like, okay, this guy is really going to have a high chance of taking out one of my buddies, so I'm going to stop him from acting on his turn, basically, right? So you're like just like taking damage and healing and stuff like that is only part of it. A lot of it is about like managing like what the turn order is.
Got some
and
really good response attacks here too with the
Yeah,
martial arts
yeah,
and
the
the ability to
counterattack,
There's a
right.
bunch of
take
cool
yourself
stuff
to
to
the
do
end.
like all the time. I like
I'm
it.
assuming the support role heals.
Yeah.
the support roll does heal. Yes. Yep.
I didn't even use my controller thing, but like apparently, like I can, if I hit them,
Yeah.
I can spend hero points to make them have
Challenge dice. Yeah.
on their attacks.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. And so
That would have been nice.
And so drawbacks can basically reduce damage, which is a good way to mitigate, like basically say like, okay, well, I'm going to put some challenge dice on this person to make sure that they have a chance to not do as much damage to my allies.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Permanently distracted by breadsticks.
Well,
Mondays is 2 for 1 pretzel.
well, Rodney, that was an absolute ton of fun. Thank you so
you.
much for putting this on
Thank
for
you.
us. So
Give me
far.
back my people, Paul.
Where, Rodney, can we go should we want to learn more
Well,
about Spectaculars?
Ian, I'm glad you asked. Thanks. Yeah, actually, so if you want to know more about Spectaculars, the best thing to do right now is to go hit up the Kickstarter page. Not only have I been posting a lot of updates, and the basic info is there. If you back the game, you can download the print and play, which includes basically 2 issues worth of play from the Explorers of the Unknown pad, which is like super science, sort of Fantastic Four themed series. So you can actually play the game and download the rules, and the rules are actually like 60% of the full rule book, so it's pretty much the whole thing. Also, I've been posting some videos that are I've posted one so far. Another one's going to go up tomorrow that are kind of walkthroughs of like, here's how character creation works. And the one that goes up tomorrow is going to be, here's how powers work, right? So the videos kind of break down in like 2 or 3 minute chunks. Like, here's how the game works. Today is the last day of week 1 of the Kickstarter campaign. And I don't know what we're at right now, but when I checked earlier, we were not quite at 50%. So If anyone thought this was cool and wants to help make spectaculars come into existence, backing the game I really appreciate that. So
between all the stuff on the Kickstarter and this live stream, of course, you have everything you need to get started, and you could be playing tonight.
yeah, I mean, this is a pretty typical example of play, right? This was actually the first issue in the street level pad. So this is actually what's going to come in the game, right? So between this and the print and play, and then what's on the Kickstarter page, yeah.
That's fantastic. Great. Well, thank you again so much for coming
Thank
out
you.
and playing with us.
Guys, I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching at home. This has been Dice Friends with episode 1 of Streetlight Knights.